Welcome to the football show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin. Tammy McManus is with me. Delighted to have you on this Saturday afternoon as ever. Every Saturday, 4 till 6, we'll bring you the half-time scores right across the country and keep you up to date at the end with full-time reports and reaction from managers and players. And there's some interesting scorelines to discuss. Scottish Premiership, first and foremost, is where most of our attention will focus, and we'll go right down through, of course, the Championship, League One and League Two as well. As far as the Scottish Premiership is concerned, latest scores here at the moment: Celtic comfortable against Aberdeen, Rangers up on Livingston, and elsewhere Hibs have got that solitary lead against Kilmarnock, and St Mirren in a similar scoreline against Ross County, and St Johnstone also with just that solitary goal. So let's go around the grounds now to get a quick appraisal of the half-time, that first 45 minutes at Celtic Park. Kerry Pollock is there for us.
Half-time here at Celtic Park, and it's Celtic 2, Aberdeen 0. Just 2 minutes into the game this afternoon, Celtic captain Callum McGregor had the ball in the back of the net after a fantastic left-footed strike. That was then followed by a lovely strike from Rio Hatate this time. Another great hit after some impressive footwork inside the 18-yard box. Just before half-time whistle there was a call for a penalty for Celtic, a foul on Maeda. It looked just on the edge of the box, but Arjota was ready and waiting with the ball in his hand. There was a VAR check going on, but VAR deemed there was no penalty as Jota himself was called offside on the lead up to the foul. Half-time here at Celtic Park, Celtic 2, Aberdeen 0.
Well, if anybody thought Aberdeen were going to put up a fight, the last thing you do, Tam, is lose a goal inside 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a dreadful start for them, and the start that Celtic were wanting. I think when you go to Parkhead, the first 20 minutes you try to keep it tight and keep Celtic out. They're always going for that early goal, and you know it's going to be a long day for Aberdeen. I think they'll just be trying to keep the score respectable now. Yeah, but hi to Paul Brady, Scott Richard, James, Ian Docherty, Thomas Lee. There's so many people who join us on a Saturday afternoon. Now share it and hit the subscribe button with your friends. Let them know we're on a Saturday. You can get it on your phone if you download the PLZ Soccer app as well and take it on your travels. What about Easter Road? Let's go there. There's been a goal and a setback. Patrick Mullen is watching Hibs.
Hot here at Easter Road, and it's Hibernian 1, Kilmarnock 0. It has been all Hibs in the first 45 minutes of this one. They got the opener in just the 15th minute. Aidan McGeady with a corner into the near post, and there is Will Fish who managed to get his head onto it and guide the ball into the back of the net. Kilmarnock will be delighted that it is only one. It has been all Hibs in this first half. Chances from Ewan Henderson saved off the line. Chances from Johan, and Aidan McGeady looked in on goal, but he pulled up with a hamstring injury to spare Kilmarnock once again. A huge half-time team talk for Derek McInnes' men, but in Edinburgh it is half-time, and it's Hibernian 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Well, it's great when you get a goal like Will Fish, but the big blow is McGeady.
Yeah, I was listening to him in there. I think he was through in goal when he pulled up his hamstring, so that is a massive blow. Obviously just come back from injury at the start of the season. I think the culmination in Hibs' fortunes is with him coming back into the team. You know, he's a leader, his ability, you know, everything about him is important for Hibs. So listen, Hibs will just be trying to win the game, but they'll be hoping that that's no long term. Yeah, absolutely. A fair bit of injury time in the match between Livingston and Rangers, but our reporter Adam Binney has the details.
Half-time here at the Tony Macaroni Arena, and it's Livingston 0, Rangers 1. It's another Captain James Tavernier penalty. That's the difference between these two sides. Rangers thought they managed to get an opening goal after 10 minutes when Alfredo Morelos clipped the ball back in for Fashion Sakali, put the ball into the net, but the linesman had adjudged him to be in an offside position. Goal wasn't given. In the 24th minute, Alfredo Morelos was contesting a header inside the penalty area, and it looked as though James Penrice had a hold of his jersey. His jersey was halfway up the back of the Rangers striker. After a VAR check, a very long VAR check at that, the penalty was awarded, and Captain James Tavernier stepped up to roll it past Shamil George in goal, who went the wrong way. So half time here at the Tony Mac, it's Livingston 0, Rangers 1.
Yeah, James Tavernier, he sure knows how to take a penalty, Tam, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He obviously missed one against Partick Thistle last week, but the goalkeeper kind of stared him out and stayed in his line, stayed central, and he went down the middle. So he went into the corner today. Rangers 1-0 up, still Livingston still in the game. I think Dave Martindale will be happy with that, but another goal I think for Rangers kills the game. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to so many people just looking at the contrasting clobber that we're wearing today. One of us is going out, one of us is definitely staying in the doors. Thanks to Kevin Ferrier, who's Tam's mate. He says, I see you've got a date tonight, Tam, tell the wife I'll take her out instead. So
There you are. That's a good one. Tom's not taking you up on that offer just yet. Let's find out what was happening in that match at Tannadice. Of course, it was 40 years ago that Dundee United won the Premier League. They're a long way from that now, as Claire Kinnaird explains.
Dundee United 0, St Johnstone 1 is how it's sitting at half-time. That all-important goal for the Saints coming as Melker Hellberg sent a ball into the box, landing right at Stevie May's feet. His fast thinking, he was able to just turn around, spin and send that right into the box past Birigiti. It's not been plain sailing for St Johnstone though. Remy Matthews has been tested a couple of times. Firstly, Levitt took a long attempt, that went wide, and Liam Smith sent a cross into the box, inches away from Kai Fotheringham, who would have been able to finish that with a header. Half-time at Tannadice, Dundee United 0, St Johnstone 1.
Well, if anybody was looking for the spirit of 1983, it just isn't there with that team.
No, it isn't. That's a poor start for Dundee United. Obviously, a big crowd in there today to pay homage to that great team, and they're certainly not giving them justice, doing them justice at the minute. 1-0 down at half-time, big team talk for Liam Fox. Spoke about it. They're struggling at the minute, Dundee United. And St Johnstone can all but really clear themselves from the bottom 2 or 3 with a win. So Dundee United need to react and come back into the second half.
Yeah, I get the feeling there might be another coffee photograph coming from Declan Gallagher. He scored the goal. St Mirren are leading by 1-0 against Ross County.
Yeah, probably. I think that obviously there was a bit of banter. I think it was Billy Miller called him an Aberdeen reject. So they went up there and beat them. Listen, I think for St Mirren there was a lot of rumours that we're going to have a lot of injuries in their team, but I think when I seen their team, I think Robinson was playing a wee bit of mind games. He had a very strong team on the bench, isn't he strong? But in terms of starting 11, they were pretty strong. So maybe that was just him, playing some mind games with Malky Mackay. Yeah, let's have a look at the Championship. See what was happening in the Championship at half time. Ayr United 0, Partick Thistle 1, Cove Rangers 0, Arbroath 0, and Inverness Cali Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 0. So the Jags with that all-important goal in that match. In fact, Hamilton Accies have just gone a goal up there at the Tulloch Stadium against Inverness. Jean-Pierre Thierry has scored that goal. And I can tell you, Hibernian are 2-0 up on Kilmarnock now. And that is a real, great start to the second half, because it's Matthew Hopp who's got the goal. Yeah, he was on the bench. He's obviously come on for McGeady when McGeady went off. So his first goal for Hibs, as we spoke about him, great pedigree. He scored a hat-trick in the Bundesliga, on loan from Middlesbrough. So I think that's a great bit of business, and that's him off to a flying start at Hibs. And you would think that Hibs are going to win that game now. Yeah, let's look at the League One in Scotland to see exactly what's been happening there. Clyde 0, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 0, Airdrieonians 1, Falkirk 1, Alloa Athletic 0. Those two scorelines at the moment have implications at the top of the table. Kelty Hearts and Queen of the South 0-0, and it's Montrose 1, Edinburgh 2. Of course, Dunfermline and Falkirk battling it out. It's tit for tat there. Yep, just when you thought Dunfermline were going to go and pull away, they went 7 points clear last week with a win. They're losing today and Falkirk's winning. That gap could be back down to 4, and they're still to play each other twice. So, I said that Dunfermline would probably win the league last week, but if it stays the same, then Falkirk are right back in the mix again. Yeah, absolutely. Don't beat yourself up with these things, Tam. It just it fluctuates as we speak. But what about League Two? Just a quick half-time appraisal there. Annan 2, Stirling Albion 0, Bonnyrigg Rosen 4 for that match postponed. East Fife 1, Dumbarton 0, Elgin City 0, Stranraer 1, and Stenhousemuir 0, Albion Rovers 0. Top two getting beat this, Peter, in the league. Stirling Albion and Dumbarton both losing.
I didn't tip either of them anyway, and I'm not bothered. So we'll see how it all pans out at the end in League Two as well. Let me tell you about what was happening early on in the English Premier League, because it looked as if it was going to be another defeat for Arsenal. Well, Aston Villa were 2-1 up, but Arsenal fought back, scored in the 93rd minute and the 98th minute of injury time. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4's how it finished.
Massive win for Arsenal. I think if they lose that game today, I think all the momentum's with Man City. You would expect them to go and win the league, but to come back and win that game after being 2-1 down at half time, they got a wee bit of luck with the goal. The goalkeeper I thought was unlucky, and then they clinch it with the fourth goal, but that's got to give them a massive boost to go 3 points ahead of Man City again. Yeah, going into that second half, the difference between Livingston and Rangers is a James Tavernier penalty. He scored for Rangers, and I think his brother Marcus Tavernier has scored for Bournemouth against Wolves, so it's a great family day out for the Taverniers. Mum and Dad will be happy with that. Yeah. But he's doing well actually. He's a good player as well, Tavernier, the brother Marcus.
Yeah, I think he might be on a bit more wedge than James is.
Maybe aye.
We'll determine that by the size of his car. You are watching PLZ Soccer's Saturday football show. Every Saturday we have 2 pieces of programming for you. Kerry gets together with Tam and Ruffy and previews the Scottish Premiership at 9 o'clock every Saturday morning. And then, of course, live here we've got half-time reports. We've got full-time reports coming in from the grounds in the Scottish Premiership. And we will also give you reaction from managers and players to the results in the top flight while covering all the lower leagues as well. We have a question which I think is relevant to what's happening in Scottish football at the moment. Ian Holloway was up being chatted to by the Motherwell board. How many English clubs has Ian Holloway managed? You want to take a wee stab at that, Tam, and then we'll throw out the answer at the end of the programme? It's a good one, isn't it? He's been a popular manager at times, certainly in the lower league area.
I'm going to go for 9.
9 for that one, okay. Give us your thoughts on how many you think Ian Holloway has managed. And let's not forget also, this is the last day of our competition to win yourself a fantastic jersey, as Adam Binney explains.
It's another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. You can win this iconic replica Ajax shirt by answering this simple question. How many times have Ajax won the European Cup? Post your answers in the comment section below. If you want to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck. Stennismuir 2-0 up on Albion Rovers. Matt Yates with the goal after Ned Weatherburn had given them an opening goal in that game. I have to tell you though, Tam, when I'm looking at the games so far in the Scottish Premiership, it's just that solitary goal that's separating clubs. Dundee United, I think, is the one that everybody will be watching, because they're just looking and trying to work out if indeed Liam Fox can get anything out of this side. Sometimes you think, okay, they're capable of just getting into a safety zone, and then all of a sudden you have a situation where they go on a poor run and they get dragged back down again.
Yeah, I think with the squad that they've got, Dundee United, you would expect better from them. You know, guys like Fletcher and Mulgrew, you know, guys that have been about the block. They've obviously let Tony Watt go, which I don't think it's looking like a great decision at the minute. They're struggling to score a goal. Didn't score last week against Kilmarnock and not scored today, so yeah, I think that Liam Fox will start to go under a little bit of pressure. You know, the more these results stack up, they'll still get 45 minutes to get themselves out of jail today against St Johnstone, but if they lose again today, you know, they're probably going to be fortunate, because it looks as if the other teams are going to lose round about them, Kilmarnock and Ross County maybe. Yeah, just a quick update on what's happening in the English Premier League. That is a full-time result. Aston Villa losing 4-2 to Arsenal. Wolves 0, Bournemouth 1. Everton and Leeds is 0-0. Nottingham Forest 0, Man City 1. Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 0, Brighton 0, Fulham 0, and Chelsea 0, Southampton 1. Talk about a manager under pressure. Yes, and as I said, the money they've spent at Chelsea, they spent about 250 million in January. Yeah. And he's struggling to get a tune out of them, so it just shows you there's no magic wand for Potter. No, absolutely. There you are. I know you got that gag in at some point in the programming this week, but you've managed to fire it again. I don't mind a repeat on your gags, to be honest with you. Newcastle Liverpool is 5:30 tonight, so we will preview that as well and keep you up to date before we go off air at 6. Tottenham against West Ham is tomorrow, and of course this week we've got a lot of special programmes for every one of you to look forward to. Of course, on Tuesday and Wednesday there's Champions League football. I'll be coming live from Anfield for Liverpool against Real Madrid, and Adam will be in the hot seat here, hosting the show with Ruffy and Richard Foster. I'll be tuning into that. Yeah, absolutely. The big man, he'll be let's see him. Let's see how he does this. Well, he'll be fantastic. I think he'll be. Yeah, Adam is absolutely top drawer, and of course really looking forward to it. Couldn't pick a better game, Tam. Liverpool, Real Madrid. Yep, you couldn't. You'd fancy Real Madrid in that one. Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think Liverpool are playing well at the minute. Yeah, you'd fancy Real Madrid. I, on the other hand, would not. Just on the games in the Scottish Premiership, if you want to comment on them, by all means, give us your view. We really do appreciate the fact that so many of you are sharing it with your friends, telling people to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Even if you're a neutral fan, or indeed if you're an Aberdeen fan, it's well worthy of clicking on to see John McMaster. I sat down with him for a full hour. He's a Gothenburg great and a legend.
and he shared some of his great stories about Fergie and about that fabulous team that won 2 European trophies. So by all means, you'll get onto PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. There's a lot of things coming up that I think you are going to enjoy, and of course the previews of the Scottish Viaplay League Cup final is well worthy of your consideration. We'll be out there previewing that all this week, the big build up to that Hampden showdown, which is again one of those situations where I think a number of people will be saying, well, let's have the judgment on Michael Beale's Rangers. Have they closed the gap? Are they as good as Ange Postecoglou's Celtic? And for all the blowhards who offer their experience on this, and I talk about pundits as well, the proof is in the pudding when the two teams lock horns.
Yeah, it will be. I think that listen, Michael Beale's done well. He's won most of his games bar the Celtic game, but the games you're judged on as an Old Firm manager are Old Firm games, and if Rangers can go and knock Celtic off their perch and get that first bit of silverware in the cabinet, then there'll be a real belief, I think, running through the whole of Ibrox and among the supporters that they can go and close that gap significantly on Celtic. I don't think they're going to win the league this season, so the 2 cups are up for grabs. So this one, if Celtic win it, I think the confidence and the momentum they'll get, they're odds on to go and win the treble. So listen, really looking forward to it. We'll see how close Rangers really are to Celtic next Sunday. Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what their team selection will be, because Michael Beale did say, and he's true to his word on this one, he was going to play a really strong team against Livingston. There can be no slip-ups, I think, and that's why he's not looking to say, well, this player's not going to play, I'm going to take him out of the heat. The only one that was missing was Malik Tillman. Yeah, I think he's picked up a little knock in training, and he's not risked him clearly. But this Rangers still very strong. A few young boys on the bench, but their starting 11 is very strong. So they're certainly not giving up the ghost in the league just yet. Yeah, Danny says Tam's got a Frank McAvenny suit on. He must be expecting to pull tonight. There's a lot of people actually just. Have a Savoy after this. Yeah, just out of curiosity, I've got to ask you: is the Savoy still open? The Savoy is still open. I've not been for years and years, but I think it's still open. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Victoria's get burnt down. Yeah. Can you remember some of them might remember rooftops? One just down for Victoria's? No, I wouldn't have gone there. No. There's a big gorilla, a guy dressed as a gorilla outside with flyers. Is that right? Remember, Tam, that there are some places where I just couldn't venture for fear of a kicking. So I always. My mates you were all right, but I like to go to places where the guys who hired your mates from Kilmarnock were in control. So anyway, I don't remember that, but I'm sure somebody will remind us of it all. But as it looks at the moment, oh, by the way, there was a banner put up, Tam. What do you make of this at Livingston? This is a banner that was put up. 2 trophies in 11 years. Uphold the standards that matter. That's from the Rangers supporters. I don't think they're happy, and I think they were letting their concerns and displeasure be made known to the Rangers board on this one, because you're in a situation right now where a lot of Rangers fans are saying, okay, we want to see the team get close to Celtic. Rangers won the league under Steven Gerrard, so they want to see a better standard of player again, get back to that, challenging for the title or winning the title. But the other problem here is you have a situation where Celtic they're now in a situation where their financial results have revealed they've got 50 million in the bank. So the next couple of years, unless there is major investment into Rangers, it's going to be a real battle for them to try and close that gap. Yeah, it certainly is. I think when you look at not only the money that Celtic have got in the bank, but Celtic's recruitment under Ange Postecoglou, I think that you don't see Celtic, getting worse. I think you can only see Celtic getting better and improving the squad. And getting better results in Europe, so Rangers have got to stay on the coattails of Celtic, and it's not going to be easy because Celtic, as you said, are in a far healthier financial position than Rangers are. And if Celtic really go and spend big money, they could really go and widen that gap. So as you said, I think the Rangers are clearly needing fresh investment from someone, whether that be in Scotland or America or somewhere else abroad. They need a fresh injection of cash. Yeah, absolutely. Celtic at the moment 2-0 up on Aberdeen. If anyone was thinking that Aberdeen would come down to Glasgow and put up a fight, they were on the back foot after 2 minutes. Callum McGregor with a sweet left foot shot into the back of the net.
And then Rio Hatate, by all accounts, had so much time to take 3 touches of the ball just to steady himself before dispatching it into the net. I think the general consensus, Tam, is that defending from Aberdeen's poor. If you're allowed 3 touches in the box, surely somebody's going to close you down.
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, I don't remember getting 3 touches in the box without somebody coming in and scalping you, you know, and getting a tackle in. So I think that's been, you know, that's been Aberdeen all season, really, in a nutshell. They've not defended properly, and that's why they find themselves where they are in the league, and just having sacked the manager. So, yeah, I think no one really expected Aberdeen to go down there and get anything from Parkhead. But when you lose those 2 early goals, the game's done, and then it's all about damage limitation. I've been in that situation myself where you go 2 or 3 nothing down early at Ibrox and Celtic Park, and then it's just you've no chance of getting back into the game. You don't want to get whacked 6 or 7, and I think that's what Barry Robson will be doing. He'll just be trying to get out of there with a 2 or 3 nothing defeat and get back up the road.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's a goal anywhere right across all the divisions, then we will try and bring you it as it breaks right across the Premiership, Championship, League 1 and League 2 as well. And I'm telling you, it's Montrose who've scored. Montrose 2, FC Edinburgh 2. So an equaliser there. Craig Johnstone has scored that goal. Not the Craig Johnstone that I remember. What was Craig Johnstone who played for Liverpool famous for? Yeah. Did you have a pair?
Yes.
Did they work?
Not for me, they didn't.
Yeah.
I always had my first ever recollection of Predators was John Collins wearing them for Celtic against Rangers, and he bent a free kick into the top corner at Ibrox, and he was the first Scottish player I ever seen wearing Predators.
Yeah. And
he gets so much, obviously it was just his technique, but everybody was trying it with the Predator boots to try and get that swerve. John Collins had it, but yeah, all the top players had them. Beckham was another one before the Predators, and Zidane. But they were cracking boots. Yeah,
absolutely. I think he made a fortune off that, and fair play to him for that. But how the boots have changed and the cost of the boots has changed. We've got a lovely feature coming up on football boots, the cost of them, the change, the evolution of them all. Some people move forward with those boots. Some people just decide that they're Adidas World Cup or Puma World Cup boots. Just the traditional black with the 3 stripes is good enough, and I am one of them.
See the difference in the weight. The weight of boots now.
Yeah.
I was like coach down at Braidhurst, and one of the kids had a new pair of Nike Tempos, the Nike ones with the laces, and he says, "What do you think of them?" And they were a feather, or maybe a couple of grams, and then you get a pair of Copas compared to that. You're thinking, but there's no protection. If somebody stands on your toe with their boots on, you break your toe or you break your metatarsal. There's no really protection. But all the kids and all the football players now want the lightest boots possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Into Scottish League 2 and into Stirling Albion 1 in League 2. Kieran Moore has scored, so suddenly Stirling, the fight back is on. Can they get an equaliser in that match? Down south it's Everton 1, Leeds 0. What a huge goal that is for Seamus Coleman. The Sean Dyche effect. After you've got the first week out of the way, you've got the big Arsenal results, suddenly you've got more time to work with the players.
Yep, I think he'll get them out of trouble. I think that was an inspired appointment. I think that Sean Dyche was waiting on a big club like Everton to come in. I think he obviously had other opportunities to go into maybe a lesser club, but I think if he can save them this season, they move into a new stadium next season, all of a sudden Everton are really looking on the up, but that could be a huge result against Leeds.
Yeah, I quite like Stephen McNamara sometimes makes the odd quality comment on our feed, and then he just goes mental. He said if Potter gets the sack at Chelsea, Peter will probably say Malky Mackay should get the job.
him in for every job.
I know. I'm sorry for liking Big Malky, Stephen. And he actually just goes on to say, remember the Snickers bar where you could win the Predators? I mean, I'm not even happy with Stephen talking about that, because there's a certain generation who think that Snickers just was the main thing. It was a marathon bar, and then we had to change because of some American
You're talking about Predators. When I obviously played in America, when I went to Colorado, MLS.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, hold on a second. Just writing that down. 24 minutes into the show, Tam played for
so
American
Adidas sponsored the whole league. Every club was sponsored by Adidas.
Yeah.
Right? And if you never had a sponsorship, your own private sponsorship, you had to wear Adidas boots.
Yeah.
So I get in a sign for Colorado Rapids, and I get into the kit room, and it's about the size of this studio. And the wee guys, they have it size 8. He opened this cage up, and I swear to God, there was every type of predator you could imagine. It was like, I'll never forget it. He says pick 4 pair. So you get 2 pair of mouldies and 2 pair of firm ground, 2 pair of studs. soft ground and a pair of indoor. He says, go and pick whatever ones you want.
Wow.
Oh, and I was like, I was just like, no, I like the one.
Yeah.
I get the white Predators. So they're still, ironically, MLS, they're still sponsored by Adidas. So every player's got to wear Adidas unless you've got a deal with Puma or Nike or something like that. But everything was kitted out, your training gear, your jackets, your boots, your flip-flops, Adidas towels. It was some setup.
Yeah, and strangely enough, amazingly, you coming from Kilmarnock, I'm surprised that you never took just an imprint of the key of that cage and then tanned it later on.
I tell you.
Our last of the official Predators.
He was the daft.
£2 for a pound.
He was in there with a big padlock on it. that was the Aladdin's cave, that cage.
Yeah. It's Aaron 2, Stirling Albion 2. We thought they were going to get back in it, and they are indeed back in it. Ross
Young's read the
McGeechy.
right act at half time.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Darren, he's a good lad. Yeah. So that's 2-2. That's our catchphrase, isn't it? Yours is, did I tell you I played in America, or when I played in America, and mine is he's a good lad, much to the annoyance of so many people. I can tell you that Relentless says, white gola boots, I wore them in 1975. Now let me just have a long hard look at you, Relentless. There are some people who actually wore white boots in those days, and I'll tell you, one of them was at Derby County, and it was either, I think his name might have been Kevin Hector, who actually wore white boots for Derby County at the baseball ground. It was one of the Derby County players.
In the 70s.
To be fair, well, I don't think so, because at the time he was wearing them, Derby won the league. And Brian Clough was the manager. So I think it was okay. But you had to be a player. I mean, if you can't wear white boots.
There's a lot of clubs. I think Hamilton Accies are one of them, that you're not allowed to wear white boots until you get into the first team.
Is that right?
Yeah. So because some of the kids down at Braidhurst always wear white, the black boots.
Yeah.
So until you get into the first, it's black boots you've got to wear black boots.
Yeah, I know of a few chairmen and owners who obviously wouldn't allow anybody who eventually made it into the first team buy themselves an expensive car. They tell them to get it back and get it changed to get a wee bit of humility. Paul Brady's come up with an absolute belter, and I remember them well. Paolo Di Canio's Pantofoladoro boots, because they were gold. I was working for Radio Clyde at the time, and on the Cash for Kids auction, I think they were sold for about £60,000, which was fantastic for Cash for Kids. But he scored a goal up at Aberdeen, the kick out, from the kick out, and he brought it down and then flicked it over the goalie.
He was some player.
Oh, he was.
He would gold boots, he would, and they boots were right. I remember getting a pair that were crap.
Yeah.
He could have wore anything. He could have wore slippers and controlled the ball.
Absolutely. And the good thing about Paolo is, he knew he was a good player. Is that fair? Absolutely. Puma for me, says Kevin. Ian Doherty says Alan Ball wore white boots. Well, thanks for that, Ian, because quite simply, Alan Ball was one of those players who could strut his stuff in white boots. I think he played for Everton, played for Arsenal as well, if my memory. 66 World Cup winner as well. So a lot of great memories there for some people in the boots that they wore. I can tell you, Kelty Hearts have scored. They're 1-0 up on Queen of the South, and Callum Higginbotham penalty. He's still going strong, isn't he?
He was starting a fight in M2 as I played with Higgy. I remember big Stephen Presley had him at the throat after one of the games. He always chirped back. You're getting stick off your manager, you just take it. Higgy would always have a wee bite back, and big Elvis nearly took his head off one day.
Brentford 0, Crystal Palace 1. Eze has scored the goal there. And of course the other aspect of Kyle Vassell, serious foul play. He's been sent off. That's a blow, isn't it?
It is a blow, but I think that it is a blow because he was obviously the striker that's going to be scoring them goals. I've let Lafferty go. Deutsch scored one goal all season. That's going to be a key issue for Kilmarnock. Who's going to score goals for them if the wee boy Armstrong doesn't he? Because they've not got enough goals in their team. I did say yesterday I fancied Hibs strong. Kilmarnock away from home, I think they've got one of the worst away records in British football.
Yeah.
Took 2 points away all season.
I've got them going down with possibly Motherwell or Ross County in that playoff place. I just can't separate it at the moment, but I think
it's going to be the three-peater and Dundee United as well, obviously. But if St Johnstone win today, they just go a wee bit further clear of that, and I think it's It's any one out of the 3 or 4 you mentioned.
Yeah, Miller McInnes. Thanks, Miller, because I was trying and racking my brains for the guy, and I thought it was Kevin Hector, but it was Alan Hinton who had the white boots. He used to play off the left-hand side for Derby County. He was a fantastic player. In Derby County at that time, and Roy McFarlane, they had Dave Mackay. What a player he was. They also had Archie Gemmell in their side. Clough, and then eventually Dave Mackay went on to become the manager and won the title with him as well. But the other great thing about him, they had not only Archie Gemmell, but they had Roy McFarlane, Colin Todd. I'm doing well here remembering this side. And they also, there was another player, John McGovern, that was it, who won the European Cup twice for Nottingham Forest, and was a Scotland player who should have played international football, but Ali MacLeod didn't realise he was Scottish. I mean, honestly, John McGovern, born in Scotland, so proud of his Scottish heritage as well. I interviewed him, of all places, up at Gleneagles with the European Cup next to him.
Did the English accent bit, John Robertson?
Yes, he moved down the early doors, but what a player. Thanks for that, Miller, it's absolutely brilliant. And Martin says, Puma Kings all day. Puma Kings are a good
my dad's favourite. Puma, he still wears them up to 5s, he's what, 67 now, and he said Puma Kings all his life, loves them.
Dunfermline 1, Airdrie 1, Todorov scoring.
Oh, I tell you what, the old day.
It's changing now, Tam.
We're twitching like that, it's nose.
Yes.
They're at your ends.
Yeah.
After last week.
Yes, Cove Rangers 1, Arbroath 0. It's always good because I like to see Cove doing well at the moment, because since Paul Hartley went back there, they were usually 4 and 5-0 down every time we've been on this show since we started, but suddenly they're getting it together.
That could be a massive result for them, to be honest. I think that just pulls them clear. I think if Arbroath won that game today, Cove are back in the mix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still, we better go 15 minutes.
Yep, still, Leighton McIntosh with the goal there will keep you right up to date with what's happening right across the divisions. But the main news, I think, from the Scottish Premiership is that Celtic are absolutely cruising against Aberdeen. It's 2-0, and I think Aberdeen are happy that in the remaining minutes of that match, they'll want to try and keep that scoreline down, but they're in control. Dundee United 0, St Johnstone 1, Stevie May with that all-important goal. Hibernian 2-0 up in Kilmarnock. They're up against it now because Kyle Vassell has been sent off. Hibs look as if they're going to take all 3 points there. Will Fish happy with his goal in that match, and of course the second one in that game scored by Hoppe, who they got from Middlesbrough, I think, on loan. Tam. So
as I said, he's an American international. I think he played for Werder Bremen, scored a hat-trick in the Bundesliga, so a very, very good pedigree, and you know, I think that was his first or second appearance and he's got his first goal, so the Hibs fans will be loving that. A new striker that's scored a goal. Yeah, the difference between Livingston and Rangers is a James Tavernier penalty in that match. Always tight at Livingston. They always make it difficult for any side who's visiting. St Mirren 1, Ross County 0. Declan Gallagher is the goal scorer there, and that's how it looks in the Scottish Premiership. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button. Our reporters are out at every game in the Scottish Premiership today. We'll hear from Claire Kinnairds, Adam Binney, Kerry Pollock, Patrick Mullen, Ali Graham, and Kelty Hearts have scored a second goal in that match. Aggie Man gets the goal for Kelty. It looks as if they're coasting now, Tam. Yeah, it could be a good result for them. Queen of the South been doing okay under big Marvin Bartley, so you know, Kelty, you know, I think big John Potter's the manager there. He came in this season, so yeah, they're just trying to, I think, consolidate this season in that division after just coming up last year, and then maybe having a go at it next year. But you know, it's a great wee club, Kelty Hearts, as well. You know, they've come up through the leagues and they are doing pretty well. Yep,
we've been there. We did a feature on them when Barry was the manager. Whatever happened to him? Anyway, it's now Kelty Hearts actually in a good commanding position. Elsewhere in the lower leagues, we'll keep you up to date with anything is transformed in the Championship, League 1 and League 2, and we will also give you the opportunity to comment as well, because the good thing about it is you can engage with us and our fellow viewers on our YouTube channel, and we like to get people on Facebook to comment as well, because we put the programme out across 2 platforms on a Saturday afternoon. But if you actually download the PLZ Soccer app, then you can actually watch it on your phone, your PC or your tablet on the move as well, which is always good. I think Aberdeen have had a couple of chances, and the reason why they've had a couple of chances is because Joe Hart's up to his usual Tam, which is quite simply he's trying these kick-outs, getting caught out, giving it to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen more often than not get a wee chance to get a shot on goal.
Yeah, I think that Joe Hart gets bored at times. I genuinely, I think he gets bored and thinks, I need to liven this up, I need to do something to try and test myself. And he's a few poor kicks by all accounts, and Aberdeen's kicked a couple of chances, but I just think that Celtic, they're just not getting tested at Parkhead against Aberdeen and teams like that. I think a wee bit of boredom can set in, but I wouldn't expect Celtic to have any issues going forward in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm having an absolute nightmare with this earpiece, Tam. It's doing my head in. you know, one of those ones where you put it in and you think, it's very
clean them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can tell you, Rio Hatate has made it 3-0, so the game's a bogey there. 3-0, no way back for Aberdeen, just a case of get to the end. Celtic have the points in the bag. And the other issue for Ange Postecoglou at this point with 3-0 up is he probably will make a raft of substitutions, because that cup final is looming ever closer next weekend.
Yep, game's finished. I'd be taking Hatate off, I'd be taking McGregor off. I'd maybe give Kyogo, I'd give him maybe 10-15 minutes just to give him a wee run out, get his legs going. Carter Vickers, another one. If you can make your 4 or 5 subs, I'd make them, and protect your big players for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. If there are goals going in right across the country, then we will keep you right up to date with that. Tam and myself always like a bit of banter. Thanks to so many of you for offering all sorts on lots of issues right across the country, not only the Premiership but the Championship, League 1 and League 2, and lots of people, there were catchphrases. If you have a catchphrase in this programme, you absolutely get battered for it, don't you? I mean, thanks to Franny Weldon, who says the show's better without listen. That was another catchphrase. If you think yours is when I played in America, Barry used to say listen, and then that meant he was going to say something, And I tell you, Dundee United are back in it. 1-1, and Dylan Levitt has the all-important goal there. Boy, did they need that goal.
That could be a big goal for them. I think it's a game they can't afford to lose. They need to pick up something. I think with Kilmarnock getting beat, Ross County getting beat, Motherwell got a tough game tomorrow. It could just get them a wee bit further away from trouble. And listen, there's 15 minutes to go and win the game now.
Yeah, absolutely. That is huge for Dundee United.
Who are bottom of the league at the minute at the table? Is that an up-to-date table, Peter?
Yeah, Dundee United. Yeah, so it's a situation where you have to wait and see what's going to happen with the match with Ross County. But it can all change. We're now into that crucial period where Ross County will be desperately trying to get back into it, but if Dundee United could suddenly get a winner, they'd come off the bottom. In fact, I think actually on goal difference right now, Dundee United are just above Ross County. Ross County would hit the bottom of the table.
Yeah, it's incredibly tight down there, Peter, amongst the 4 of them. I think if Dundee United can go and get a winner, it would be massive for them.
Yeah.
It would kind of pull St Johnstone back into a little bit as well. But
it's 21-21, then Kilmarnock on 23, then Motherwell on 23 ahead of their game against Hearts. We'll hear from Stuart Kettlewell, the caretaker boss at the moment, and we'll also hear from Robbie Nielsen. And then you've got that little gap that St Johnstone on 28, Aberdeen on 32, and I can tell you, incredible, Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 2. So, honestly, I have just mentioned it, and Dundee United would hit the bottom again. It's incredible.
They always say that you're the most vulnerable when you concede a goal, but literally, what's that, 30 seconds, a minute after you equalise, they got the part and score. Liam Fox will be doing his head, Stevie Crawford I know well as well up there. They'll be doing their dinging up there if they go one each and then lose a goal straight away.
Yeah,
nightmare.
The Dundee United goalkeeper took a heavy touch on the pass back, and I think everybody's just looking at Mark Birighitti right now and going,
who scored the goal?
What are you doing with that one? Stevie May with a double. He's suddenly a hero there once more. I'm delighted for Stevie May because he had a tough time. He had an injury down at Preston, and it really set him back. And he's a really good lad. We had him on the show on a good few occasions. Good lad. Yep, there's my catchphrase, but he is. And there are people, should I be at that point where I suddenly say that I don't like someone and they're a rotten lad? I don't know many people, but he has come on the programme, and I'm delighted for him, because St Johnstone is the club that I always associate with him.
Yep, he's actually got a great goal scoring record when you look at it. He's I think he had a loan spell at, was it Alloa? He banged goals in at Alloa. He got his move down to Preston, as you said. He picked up an injury, but as you said, he's done really, really well at St Johnstone. And he went up with Aberdeen. I don't think it quite worked out for him up there, but in terms of goals to game ratio, he's a pretty good striker.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you right now, with it,
I've got 2-1 to St Johnstone predictor, by the way.
Yeah, what have you got for Celtic?
3-0, I think.
I've got 3-0.
I could have an absolute whopping day here.
I'm on a 5-pointer there.
And I've got St Mirren to win, I've got Hibs to win 2-0.
Well, calm your jets. I've got St Mirren 1, Ross County 0. So let's just hope Ross County can keep it all tight there. I've got Hearts to beat Motherwell. I've got Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 1. So I'm goosed there. And also, Tam, I've got Hibs 2, Kilmarnock 1, but there's no chance of that now, because
I might have went 2-0 or 2-1, I don't know.
Yeah.
What have I got there?
Well, I was just going to say to you, because at the end of the day, the odds in Kilmarnock scoring, I think, are slim. Yep. You've got Hibs 2, Kelly 0.
I tell you,
do you want to tell you something? You could hit the top tonight. You've had a blistering day.
It's not finished yet, Peter. Don't try and joiner me.
I'm not going to joiner you, because
you're desperate to joiner me.
Yeah, if you hit the top, you will become unbearable. It's as simple as that. So the goals, as they fly in, we'll keep you up to date with that. Later on, we'll hear from Robbie Nielsen, Stuart Kettlewell. We'll look ahead to the game tomorrow, of course, and get the prediction of Tam from Motherwell against Hearts. We'll also have the full-time reports from every Premiership ground today. And we'll hear from managers and players before you leave us at 6 o'clock. We'll also give you a chance to win yourself an Ajax top. It's Clyde 1, Peterhead 0.
Oh, I tell you, that is a massive, massive game at the bottom, Peter. They two are just neck and neck at the bottom. They're miles behind everybody else. And that could be a big win for one of my ex-gaffers, the Duff, Jim Duffy.
Celtic Hearts now 3-0 up on Queen of the South. Yeah, they're just Higginbottom again.
Is it wee Higgy?
He's unbelievable. And Rangers have scored. Livingston 0, Rangers 2. James Tavernier has scored the second one, and I think that secures all 3 points. So suddenly you are in a situation, Tam, no surprise. This afternoon we have both teams now thinking to themselves, okay, both managers looking and saying, we've got a comfortable enough lead, we're into the latter stages of the game, whip a few guys off, get ready, all focus on Hampden and the final for the Viaplay League Cup.
Yeah, I think in terms of Rangers now, they can make changes. I think at 1-0 it's a precarious position, but now, I think Omi Ungar's been sent off for Livingston as well, so I think the game's done at 2-0. Livingston down to 10 men, and you'd maybe bring on a couple of young boys. I think he's got Lovelace, he's got Bailey Rice, who I know well from down at Braithurst as well. Maybe give them a wee taste in the last 5-10 minutes, get them on. Yeah, absolutely. Younger players to see if they've got a future at the club, because that's the other key element of this. We'll be talking about a little later on to get your thoughts on it, Tam. Some of the young players that have decided off the back of Dylan Reid, some young players who have actually gone away from Scottish football down south, they're not going to be getting regular football, but when you just look at it, look at the players that have left, Tam, and I'm thinking here, Islam Farouz, he moved to Chelsea, never heard of again. James McCarthy obviously won the FA Cup when he moved to Wigan. Billy Gilmore's another famous one. Calvin Ramsey, and then Dylan Reid of late. Ben Doak for me is the most high profile that Celtic lost in the last couple of months, and now look at him, he's playing in games for Liverpool. Yeah, no, as I said, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I think it's difficult for any young player when you're getting offered the riches that are offered in England. I know Billy Gilmore, listen, he looked after his family, he got a house, I think his dad got a job down there at Chelsea and all that, so listen, it's difficult to give that up. And then you on the flip side of that, you come up here, you maybe play 100 games. I remember playing against James McCarthy when he was 15 at Hamilton Accies. I was at Dunfermline, and him and James MacArthur were the two midfield players for Hamilton Accies. I think James was 17, he was 15, and they beat us 5-0 at East End Park. And I came off that pitch that day and I thought, who was they two young boys in the middle of the park? They were brilliant, and it was no surprise to me that the two of them went on and had great careers international level and in the English Premier League. So, but both those players played 100-150 games, Peter, for Hamilton before they left. And I think that's vital. We speak about it on the show all the time. You've got to get games under your belt before you go down the road. And the boy Dylan Reid's obviously at St Mirren. I think St Mirren have obviously got a great offer for him in terms of cash. We know their financial situation. I think it suited everyone for him to go down the road, but we're just hoping he gets an opportunity down there and it doesn't come back up the road with his tails between his legs, having not played a game for 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big concern we have. And I think a concern for Man City is Nottingham Forest have scored. It's 1-1, so suddenly Arsenal's result is major earlier on with that 4-2 win against Aston Villa. This is incredible down south in the English Premier League. I can tell you that there's a goal for Arbroath. Cove Rangers 1, Arbroath 1. Also, there's... hi guys, I'm watching from... Now, I hope I've got this right. Ushuaia Tierra del Fuego. Colin Mingis, or Menzies. I think Mingis is the correct pronunciation. Colin will obviously enlighten me, and he's overjoyed at St Johnstone coming right back at Tannadice. And I have to say, on a weekly basis here, Tam, we have to discuss, the stories, the scorelines that kick in there. And quite simply, when you look at it now, Liam Fox will be under intense pressure from a disgruntled Dundee United fan base.
Yeah, because we spoke about the board being under pressure. Tony Ashgar, I think they signed one player in January, a young centre half, and they let 8 or 9 go. So straight away you're thinking, right, what's going on at Dundee United? Are they trying to trim the wage bill? Is the owner trying to cut back a bit? But it's not the right time to do that when you're in a relegation battle. So. Listen, Liam, and he's got an experienced guy beside him, Stevie Crawford there. They've got to try and get results because, as I said, they're in a real dogfight, and the pressure's going to start. That'd be 2 terrible results, Peter, back to back at home. And I think that's when you're at home and you're home supporters. I think that's worse than losing away from home because you'll hear them not happy. Yeah,
Inverness 0, Hamilton 3. Smith with the penalty 3 minutes from time.
Football's mental, innit? Inverness beat Livingston 3-0 away from home last week in the Scottish Cup, and then they get beat off the Accies.
Yeah, Ian Docherty's just said Peter's smiling at the Nottingham Forest equaliser. Ian, it's scandalous. Obviously Ian's well aware that I'm not a big fan of Man City. Certainly, this title race is getting, is really getting exciting down south as well. I personally, when I look at the competitiveness of the English Premier League, I would love that up here. I'd love a third force from somewhere just to really threaten them, and I can't see it happening.
It's never going to happen, Peter, unless Hearts or Hibs or Aberdeen, get taken over by a rich sheik or I don't know, Russian or anybody, a businessman, and they go and put...
Is there a Qatari Jambo?
Qatari heavy, hopefully. But no, they're going to have to buy a club like that and put in 20, 30, 40 million to compete with Celtic Rangers. So whether that happens in our lifetime, I don't think so.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way Celtic are going at the moment, at that top of the table, they're not going to lose that 9-point advantage. Although it's amazing, I've never met so many Rangers pundits who are keen to drive Ange Postecoglou to the airport. They're coming out of the woodwork from everywhere. They're all turning into taxi drivers for him.
Yeah, no wonder. I think they really recognise that he's a top manager, and we all say Dan Chu. We're all guilty of it. I was the same. As soon as I heard that Ange Postecoglou was getting a Celtic job, I was googling it. I'm thinking, who's this guy?
Yeah.
He's managed in Australia and Japan, and he didn't have a great resume, but I think they started off poorly. Let's not forget that they lost 3 of the first 6 league games.
Yeah.
And a lot of Celtic fans must have been thinking, we've got a dud here. But slowly but surely they started to turn it around, and now I genuinely think the Celtic fans are so happy that he's a manager. They think he's the best manager they've had in a number of years. They all love Brendan Rodgers, but I think even Ange Postecoglou's popularity is far, far more than Brendan Rodgers now. So they love the way Celtic play. It's the Celtic way. They go and attack home and away. They've took a few skeletons away from home, but listen. Yeah.
I'm raging with my predictions now. Celtic have made it 4-0.
That's killed me enough.
Celtic now, Leela-Bada 4-0 up. Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 2. It's a real problem for Liam Fox at Tannadice. And I can tell you, Brighton 0, Fulham 1. and Solomon has scored right at the death in that one. Hibs 2, Kilmarnock 0, Livingston 0, Rangers 2, James Tavernier with a double there, St Mirren 1, Ross County 0, Declan Gallagher with a solitary goal. So suddenly, real worries at the bottom end for Dundee United on a day when a number of the 1983 title winning squad walked out onto the Tannerise Park, much to I think the delight of an older generation. I can tell you it's Livingston 0, Rangers 3. Kemar Roof has scored that goal for Rangers, so they have comfortably won that match now and can focus their attention on what's going to happen next weekend at Hampden. We will be bringing you previews of that game, the all-important game between Rangers and Celtic, the first trophy of the season on offer. Who's going to win it? We'll also bring you later on today, before we go off air, managers' reaction, players who are involved in the game, the reports from full time as well. But it's hopefully something you're enjoying on a Saturday afternoon. Certainly not that kind of a staid, uptight situation where basically, you can't have a laugh. That's one thing we do. We like to engage with everybody and have a bit of banter on here.
Yeah, we do. Listen, it's great that we're getting the results coming in, and we can speak about the games. We've got reporters out there, and we can interact with the viewers that are tuning in. So if they want to ask us anything at all, fire away.
Yeah, absolutely. We're happy.
Reason.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say. And also, we give you the chance to win some fabulous prizes. Tam, we're not far away from delivering next week's prize. And can I just say to you, we also have a belter the week after, which is totally different. I have managed to get my hands on something which is just going to, I think it's going to please the Hearts fans no end. That's all I can say. And then the week after that, I've got a belter for the Hibs fans. You see what we're doing here, Tom? We're getting as many things for so many people to enjoy, who love their football memorabilia, and we really are, all the way through to the end of the season, going to give away some fantastic prizes.
Yeah, and I think the one you're going to give away next week is I think it's for everyone. I think everyone would love this jersey. I think it's one of the most coveted jerseys in world football, the one you're giving away next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
So not mine, by the way.
No, absolutely not, because we couldn't get a hold of any of the American shirts that Tam played in over in the MLS.
Rochester Rhinos.
Yeah, well, that would have been a belter. Have you still got that?
I think I've a couple in the house.
Yeah. Do you have all the ones he played for in America?
I've got a few Colorado ones. Rochester Rhinos, I've got a few. I've got a couple.
Yeah. Celtic 4, Aberdeen 0 is how it finished. It's an emphatic win for Celtic there. Callum McGregor had a sweet left foot shot after 2 minutes, and that really put Barry Robson's Aberdeen on the back foot right away. Then Rio Hatate added the second. He had time to control the ball inside the box before dispatching it into the back of the net, and then from there it really was Hatate adding number 3 before Abada just at the end with the icing on the cake makes it 4-0. So really absolutely coasting Celtic with that one today.
Yeah, they're just in periods at the minute, particularly at Parkhead. They're scoring 4 and 5 every week against teams, and as I say, it's a great tune up for them. Rangers winning 3-0 at the minute as well, so it all sets up for a mouth-watering one cup final next week. Both teams in great form.
Yeah, Montrose 3, Edinburgh 3 in that match. Matthew Allen in the 94th minute. That's a good time to score, because you actually think to yourself, unless you're Arsenal, who scored in the 93rd and the 98th minute, but it's a good time to score because you think you've saved a point.
It is a good time to score, but I can never forget being 4-2 up in injury time at the Tynecastle for Hibs and drawing 4 each. So the game's never done until it's done.
And Tam, for the benefit of Ian Docherty who's out there, Ian, it's Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 1. It's finished. So there you are. Should I smile any more than that?
Just when you thought at half time Man City are going to go and cruise it, the football's amazing, isn't it? They come back and win 4-2. Man City 1-0 up, you think, cruising, they draw, and I think the gap's now 2 points. Yeah, and Arsenal have a game in hand. So I mean, honestly, everybody was writing them off about quarter to 4. And I bet you Man United fans were buzzing as well when Arsenal getting beat. Yeah, they were only 6 points behind with a game in hand, so Can you see Manchester United still being in the mix? They're only 6. Well, I think they're now 9 points behind by a game in hand, but yeah, I think they're maybe just a wee bit too far behind. If results went for them today, if Arsenal had lost and Man City had won, then they were back in it. But
Yeah, Man United beat Newcastle. In fact, if Man United actually, have they still got City to play?
I don't think they've got. Somebody could tell us. I'm not sure if they've got Man City or Arsenal to play.
Yeah, Newcastle, Liverpool today, Tottenham, West Ham, Manchester United tomorrow. If they beat Leicester City, suddenly it would get interesting. And then I was just looking ahead to see the games that they're playing, just to see if there's anyone that they've got that's against the biggies. They've got Brentford in a couple of weeks, and then over and above that, you're just looking and you're saying to yourself, oh, Liverpool are Anfield. That could, 5th of March, that could be the one that kind of kills them off. That would be the one that would end it for them.
Yeah, but I just think that Man United this season have been superb, and you know, if particularly at the start of the season, you know, they started really, really poorly, and I think they lost the first game of the season at home under a new manager. So listen, for them to be in the mix for the title is they're well ahead of schedule, I think.
Yeah, Brentford won, Crystal Palace won in that match. So we're keeping you right up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net in all the leagues. But the big story in the Scottish Premiership is quite simply that Dundee United are really rock bottom. It's as simple as that, because they look as if they're heading for defeat. They're into the final seconds of the match against St Johnstone. St Johnstone leading by 2 Stevie May goals to 1. Hibs with a good day today, 2-0 winners over Kilmarnock. Just waiting for the full time on that one. Livingston didn't really lay a glove on Rangers. Double from Tavernier, Kemar Roof with a goal. Livingston with a man sent off, 3-0 to Rangers. And St Mirren won, Ross County 0. So Hibs full time, 2-0 winners against Kilmarnock, but Dundee United full time. Dundee United won, St Johnstone 2-0.
Yeah, I think that's a real shocker for Dundee United. Back-to-back home defeats, not good enough for them. When you consider the size of the club, first and foremost, but the budget the players have got, you know, they are deep in the mire at the minute. They don't look as if they're going to get out of trouble. And the thing for me is, when you look at the teams round about the bottom, you know, you've got Derek McInnes at Kilmarnock and you've got Malky Mackay at Ross County. Both guys have been through it, Peter. They've got very, very experienced managers in both those clubs, and I would worry about the experience of Liam Fox in a relegation battle. Has he got the confidence and the know-how to get them out of it? Well,
that's the big dilemma now, because when you look, can I just say for Doolan, Partick Thistle, 1-0. A win against Ayr United, it's a big one for him. You know, he's in there as a caretaker boss at the moment, Chris Doolan, until such times as they either look towards him or possibly another appointment.
Well, if he wins games, he'll be in the mix to get the job. You know, I always think if you're the caretaker, you've got first dibs at it, first hit, and that's a fantastic result for them against United, who had an opportunity to go, you know, up close to the top of the league again. So that gets Partick Thistle back in it. I don't think they're going to win the league this season, but you know, if they can get into the top 4, then they'll take their chances in the playoffs. But Chris Doolan's an absolute legend at Partick Thistle. He's a hero, and I think a lot of the Partick Thistle fans would absolutely love it if you get the job.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I look over the Championship, Ayr United 0, Partick Thistle 1, Cove Rangers 1, Arbroath 1, Inverness Cally Thistle 0, Hamilton Accies 3, which is absolutely fantastic for the Accies. Slowly but surely, John Rankin is pulling them away from the danger area.
I mean, he was another manager that was under pressure at the start of the season, and you know, they were really, really poor. But over the last 6 weeks, have picked up a lot of results. I thought they didn't disgrace themselves against Hearts either. So listen, they're catching Arbroath. Arbroath obviously drew today with Cove. You know, Hamilton Edge are 2 points closer, and it's all to play for. I thought Hamilton were dead and buried maybe 6 weeks ago, but I don't think they're that far behind now. Yeah,
you're trying to hold yourself in from saying deed and buried there, weren't you? But just he nearly broke into Balornock for us on the show. Scottish League 1, Clyde 1, Peterhead 0, Dunfermline 1, Airdrieonians 1. These are full-time scores. Falkirk 1, Alloa Athletic 0, Kelty Hearts 3, Queen of the South 0, Montrose 3, Edinburgh 3. Into Scottish League 2, Annan Athletic 2, Stirling Albion 2 is how it finished. East Fife 2, Dumbarton 0, Elgin City 0, Stranraer 1 and Stenhousemuir 2, Albion Rovers 0. There are a number of big scorelines from down south. Of course, Arsenal, what a good day for them, because they got a 4-2 win over Aston Villa, and Nottingham Forest got a late equaliser to draw with Manchester City. So that's the big news from down south. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening in the other match a little later on, a 5:30 kick-off, Newcastle-Liverpool. We will look ahead to what's happening in the Scottish Premiership tomorrow between Motherwell and Hearts. We'll hear from Robbie Nielsen. We'll hear from Stuart Kettlewell. The story of the Scottish Premiership is quite simply that Dundee United have hit rock bottom with their defeat to St Johnstone. We'll get the thoughts of Claire Kinnaird very shortly in that one. We'll also hear from our reporter Kerry Pollock on that 4-0 drubbing for Aberdeen against Celtic at Celtic Park. But what a good day for Hibs as well. I'll tell you, you mentioned on Friday, suddenly the Hibs fans are really buying into Lee Johnson.
Yep, they are, and listen, they've had a nice wee run of games over the last 3 or 4 weeks. They've been able to pick up points, and that's a great result again today. I fancied Hibs. Kilmarnock are poor away from home this season, but you've still got to go and win the games, and it just increases the pressure onto the teams above them, onto Hearts. I think they're just hanging in there. Another clean sheet, which I think will please the manager. So no, I think that all in all, it's been a great wee run of form for Hibs at the minute. I think that's 6 unbeaten now. 4 wins, 2 draws.
Yep, we've got reporters at all the grounds in the Scottish Premiership. They will give us their full-time assessment of the matches, and then we'll hear from managers and players in those key games in the Scottish Premiership. Let's not forget, this week coming up, we'll have full-time, I can tell you, Livingston 0, Rangers 3. We will have a preview of the Champions League Tuesday and Wednesday night. I'll be live from Anfield into the programme, where Adam Binney will be hosting alongside Ruffy and Richard Foster on Tuesday here. Hopefully you can join us on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel and join us for the coverage of all the key games in the build-up to the Viaplay League Cup final, because we will preview that and maybe pull out a few legends here and there to talk about it, and hopefully you can give us your thoughts as well, because tactical analysis, players who are fit, any who might not make it, everybody's desperate to be available, and I can tell you we can go to Celtic Park and hear from our reporter Kerry Pollock.
Full time here at Celtic Park, and Ange Postecoglou's side maintain their gap at the top of the table after a 4-0 victory over Aberdeen here this afternoon. It was Callum McGregor, no messing around from the Celtic captain, had the ball in the back of the net with a lovely finish within 2 minutes today. That was followed by Reo Hatate's beautiful hit after some lovely footwork to get the second goal of the day. Then going into the second half, Reo Hatate got his second goal of the day and Celtic's third, a very deserving goal. It beat a couple of Aberdeen players, nutmegged another, and then drilled it into the back of the net. And then just in the final moments there, Leal Abada got Celtic's fourth after a lovely cutback from Sead Haksabanovic. Celtic 4, Aberdeen 0 as it finishes here at Celtic Park today.
4-0. Kerry just talking there about some good goals that Celtic scored on the day. Leal Abada with the icing on the cake, but he gets a cutback from Sead Haksabanovic, who is both subs who are contributing to Celtic's fourth goal. It just shows you the strength and depth.
Yeah, the competition for places is incredible at Celtic at the minute. I think if you're a player there and you even get 5-10 minutes at the end of a game, you've got to come on and impress. You've got to come on and do something, and set up a goal, score a goal, to keep yourself in the manager's thoughts. I think that Ange is the type who would, if you're training well, I think you would be big into that. If you're training well, you're playing, and I don't think you can afford to have a lax week training. I think you find yourself out of the team at Celtic. So listen, Celtic in great form, Rangers, as we're going to speak about, 3-0 great form. It sets up for a cracker next week. I think Celtic are favourites to win it, but the Rangers will take a lot of confidence from the way they played against Celtic at Ibrox.
Yeah,
I thought they were unlucky not to win the game.
St Mirren have defeated Ross County by 1-0 as well. Good win for Stephen Robinson, bouncing back from the midweek defeat against Motherwell. But we will, I think, even in the build-up to it, start to analyse it all. But once they eventually lock horns, everybody's talking about the fact that Celtic may well indeed go into that match as favourites. But it's amazing what a cup win can do for a team. If Rangers were to win that match, it would really, I think it would be a groundswell of belief among the Rangers players that there isn't a gap and they are just as good as what Celtic have on offer.
Yep, and as I said, they'll take a lot of confidence from the game at Ibrox. I thought they were the better team for large parts of that game. and they're going to have to put another big performance in to go and get a win against Celtic. So I think Celtic are favourites, but listen, at the end of the day, you know, on any given day in a cup final, anything can happen. Let's hope we're talking again. We're talking about good play, a good goal, you know, great performances rather than a refereeing decision, a VAR or something. So you're just hoping it passes without any major incident.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to Easter Road, to the capital. Patrick Mullen watched Hibs against Kilmarnock.
Full time here at Easter Road, and it has finished. Hibernian 2, Kilmarnock 0. A dominant performance by Lee Johnston's men sees them move into 4th in the league table. The opening goal came in just the 15th minute. It was Aidan McGeady's corner that flew into the near post, and there was Will Fish with an absolute bullet header that sent the ball into the roof of the net. Hibs led into the break, but just 1 minute after it, they had their second. That come from Matthew Hoppe. It was quite a comical goal, to be honest. Kilmarnock are trying to clear their lines from about the 6-yard box. One defender slashed the ball into another defender's face. That's ricocheted back to the feet of Hoppe, and he stabbed the ball into the empty net. Things couldn't get much worse for Kilmarnock, but it did in the 65th minute. Kyle Vassell shown a red card for a high boot. It was initially a yellow card, but John Beaton was sent to the monitor and he was told to change his decision to a red. It is now 6 games unbeaten for Hibs, but for Kilmarnock, they are still winless on the road this season in the league. But at full time at Easter Road, it has finished. Hibernian 2, Kilmarnock 0.
Yeah, well done to Patrick Mullen there, because quite simply it's all going well for Hibs. There's been a long delay because Ashpilicueta picked up an injury, but it's eventually finished. Chelsea 0, Southampton 1 at Stamford Bridge. Dare I say it, I think that could be the end for Graham Potter.
No, it's not.
Too early.
No.
Too early. Chelsea.
You want people sacked every week.
Chelsea.
No, there's not.
At home to Southampton.
He's just spent about 300 million.
Yeah. That's a reason.
No, you need to give him time to gel.
Yeah.
I think that Chelsea this season is just a write-off, and I think that they'll give him this season to get what he wants.
Yeah.
But it's a poor result. But I don't think they'll sack him.
If he goes this week, will you offer me a
I will, but he's not going to sack him.
Just give me a huge apology. Grovelling one.
The big mistake they made was getting rid of Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah.
They should never get rid of him, and they've never recovered from it.
Yeah, I agree with you actually, by the way. I think getting rid of a manager of his quality was
incredible,
too quick and incredible. And now look, Graham Potter has a good reputation from Brighton and the football that they were playing, but quite simply that one is incredible. Chris Andrews says PLZ giving the school kids a chance, just because Patrick Mullen has that youthful look about him. I mean, I was going to say he is 38. He's been bevying for the last 8 years, and now he's back on the straight and narrow. Normally, kid, he's a young guy, but I'll tell you one thing about it. That's the way the game's going. There's a lovely mix at PLZ of like experience, you know, at the top end with Ruffy, and then just all the way down. You know, you've got Hugh McDonald, Alison McConnell, Richard Foster. You've got that variety in there in yourself, Tam.
Yep, you've got to have that variety. You appeal to everyone, but Patrick and Kerry and Adam, they're all doing a great job at reporting. It's not easy. I tried a wee bit of that myself when I was with the BBC before I came in here, and it's difficult to do it at half time. You know, people think, you know, you've got a minute to summarise a game, but you know, when you're put in the spot and you've got deadlines, you've got to get your stuff in, then it's not easy. It's not as easy as wee Patrick's making it look here. Yeah,
Paul Brady says if Abramovich was still at Chelsea, Potter would be sacked.
Yeah, possibly, but I just don't. I think you'll get him to the end of the season.
Yeah, Iron Blue says, what a day for the Gunners. It is absolutely an incredible day down there. But listen, for every manager that's under pressure, there's always someone who has to profit from that, waiting in the wings, you know, whether it's in Scotland or whether it's down south. Let's go to Tannadice. It's a difficult day, and one manager we were talking about earlier, Liam Fox, is under real pressure. Claire Kinnaird watched the 90 minutes unfold.
Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 2. Both teams came out here today with something to play for, and St Johnstone took the lead in the first half. Melker Hallberg sent a ball into the box, landed right at Stevie May's feet. He turned rapidly and just shot it past Birigiti. Half time, it finished Dundee United 0, St Johnstone 1. Into the second half, there was a spectacular long ball that was shot from Levitt, who put it right into the bottom right corner, making it Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 1. And moments later, Mulgrew passed the ball back to Birighitti, and just as he was about to take his touch and get the ball away from the box, Stevie May slid in and put the ball in the net, taking out Birighitti at the same time. It's finished here at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 2.
Well, if you're going to score a goal, you might as well put the ball in and take the keeper well. And that's what Stevie May.
Sometimes as a striker, when you gamble and you get impressed, you get a wee break. I remember doing it at Celtic Park. Javier Sanchez-Broto was a goalkeeper for Celtic, and it was a pass back that went down and Preston. He dallied on it and he hit it off me, and I tapped into an empty net. So sometimes when you go and you put a wee bit extra graft in, you get a wee break, and that's what Stevie May's done. You know, and you deserve that when you get in and put the effort in to close the goalie down. Yeah,
can I just say something to you, Tam, which is a real problem for us, is you've started this whole thing and the punters are now all embracing it, and Danny has says Potter has run out of magic. Now Danny's sitting at his computer. Danny's sitting at his computer and he's just rubbing his hands and he thinks that's really, really good. I'm happy with myself.
I don't care if you spend 300 million. There's no magic wand to get you in trouble.
Yeah, there you are. And Danny is sitting there going, I love Tam and I love all this rotten gag stuff, and everybody's embracing it now. You've started it on this programme. Anyway, Rangers with a good win. We'll hear from Adam Binney shortly on that win at the Tony Macaroni Arena, as Livingston really succumbed to a double from James Tavernier and Kemar Roof. We will also hear from Ali Graham, who's been out there watching St Mirren with their solitary goal victory. But I think there's a lot of questions to be asked. I'm interested to see what Liam Fox's take is on that game up at Tannadice, because Dundee United, as things stand at the moment, it's worrying times for them. Going down, as Hugh McDonald mentioned earlier this week, going down into that championship, it's not a given that you come back. And the other thing about it as well is there are Dundee United players on big money that, who are now looking at a side who are at the bottom of the table. It's just not good enough.
I think when I look at all the clubs that are down near the bottom, I think they are the ones that cannot afford to go down.
But he's the most inexperienced, as you mentioned.
Yep, he's listen. That's the road they went down. They sacked Jack Ross pretty early, and they went with Liam Fox. It's not looking like a great decision at the minute, to be honest. And that owner, the club will have a fortune. If they go down and he decides that this is enough's enough for me at Dundee United, they are in huge bother. They are in massive debt to this guy, so they need to stay in that division. If they go down, it's an absolute disaster, particularly when Dundee might pass them on the way up.
Yeah, even with Ross County losing today, they're still a point ahead of Dundee United. Then you've got Kilmarnock just above them. It is so tight.
They all lost, the bottom three all lost.
Well, and of course you've got Motherwell taking on Inform Hearts tomorrow.
Yep, as I said, it's looking as if if Motherwell can get a result tomorrow, any sort of even a point would be a great point for Kettlewell, but you're looking at the bottom three at the minute and they are in deep trouble.
Well, that's now a 7-point gap now that St Johnstone have opened up.
Yeah.
So you're now talking about 4 clubs who look as if they are in big trouble, and now just they're going to scrap amongst themselves, really.
Yep, and the only bonus for the clubs, and I've been in that situation myself, when you're in a relegation battle, you come off, you've got beat, it was other scores, or they get beat and you think, right, we're still in the mix, we're still there. The results have went in your favour, but they're not always going to go in your favour. One of them or two of them is going to start putting a run together, and you're just hoping it's your club. Gut feeling on this one, Tam, I still look at it and I say to myself, I can't see Dundee United, I just think they're poor. I also think Kilmarnock, I switch sometimes, but I think Kilmarnock are so poor, don't have the goal scorers. And I'm looking and I'm saying to myself, unless Motherwell make an appointment of an experienced manager, you're wondering where are they going to get the wins that they crave along the way. Yeah, I think it depends on who Motherwell get in. I think if if Kettlewell gets a result tomorrow against Hearts, I think they might give him at the end of the season. I think he speaks well. He's not a novice. Yes. He was managed in the league at Ross County, kept him up. So he's got experience of a relegation battle. So I think that if he can get any sort of result or a performance tomorrow against Hearts, I think it's his job to the end of the season. But if you had to put a gun to my head at the minute to see who would go down, I would say at the minute Kilmarnock, and I think Dundee United in the playoff. But they two could easily switch. But I think Malky and Ross County might just have enough to get out of trouble. But I think if you're a Dundee United fan or a Kilmarnock fan, particularly away from home, you're really, really worried that your club's going back down.
Yeah, I'm just looking there. Young Bailey Rice got a wee debut, a couple of minutes to go. You know him well.
Yeah, fantastic for him. He was at Bradhurst at the Performance Shield down there the last 4 years. He was at Motherwell. Rangers bought him for a fee from Motherwell, a substantial fee, I'm led to believe. I think Motherwell might be happy tonight that he made his debut. They might get a few quid out of that. Very, very talented player, massive Rangers fan, Bailey, so that'll be a dream come true for him, you know, to make his debut. I think he's 16. His family will be immensely proud of him, and all the coaches at Bradhurst will be really proud of him. He's a good lad as well. Yeah,
absolutely. We like talking about Tam's kids that he coaches. We also like talking about Tam's mates as well. Some of them work for us. Let's hear from one of his mates. Ali Graham is at the Smisa Stadium for St Mirren against Ross County.
Full time here in Paisley, and it's St Mirren 1, Ross County 0. Declan Gallagher's 7th minute header was enough to give the Saints the points and see them move up to 5th place in the Premiership. Malcolm Mackay's side came out a different team in the second half and forced a number of chances to try and get back into the game. Noah Kenner and substitute Ross Callaghan both blew shots over the bar, but on 90 minutes it was substitute Edward Uwara who was red carded for a two-footed tackle in the 90th minute. Full time here in Paisley, it's St Mirren 1, Ross County 0.
Yeah, there it is, Declan Gallagher's goal, the difference, and of course Big Ali there just holding court there, having a wee look. He's just typical of your mate, having a wee look to see if anybody's going to have a go at him, just in case he has to react.
He's all right, but no, listen, as I said, that's a lot of people were thinking that, you know, St Mirren having all these injury problems, and Stephen Robinson coming out and saying we've got this player out, that player out. I've seen a couple of them played today, so I don't know if that was maybe a wee bit of mind games for him, and it worked. They still had a strong team out. Declan Gallagher gets the goal and then they keep the clean sheet. That's what St Mirren are all about. You know, they're very, very solid at home once they get their noses in front. We've seen that even against Celtic. You know, they're hard to break down, and you know, I think that keeps them in the mix for third place in the top six. And for Ross County, it's a long journey back up the road with no points.
Yeah, absolutely. We're about to head to Livingston very shortly to hear from Adam Binney and his recollection of that good win for Rangers. Both the top two winning. Big worries for Dundee United at the bottom end of the table. Give us your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be occupying 12th spot when we get to the end of the season? Who is your relegation candidate? Who's in the playoff for you? It looks as if there are 4 teams now who could be battling that out, but St Johnstone will not feel, I think Callum Davison will be saying to the players, do not at any point think that we are out of this.
Yeah, they just need to keep picking up results, but I think that's a great example of a board that was patient with a manager. You know, Callum Davison, you know, won 2 cups at St Johnstone, a legend forever, but they were in a terrible run at the start of the season, and at back end of last season, and a lot of people would have thought, you know, maybe change their manager, but they've stuck with him, and you know, the proof's in the pudding now. They're getting results. I don't think there'll be any bother at the bottom. He signed a couple of good players, Nicky Clark, Stevie May. They've got guys in the Premier League that can score goals, so I don't think they're going to be any bother at all at the bottom. They've got guys that can score goals at that level.
Yeah, okay. Davy Thompson says United are going down. Davy, I think I share your view on that. It's going to be tough. Let's go to the Tony Macaroni Arena. Adam Binney sums up Livingston against Rangers.
Has finished Livingston 0, Rangers 3 in a match inspired by a double from captain James Tavernier. He put his side ahead from the penalty spot after just 24 minutes. Ball came into the box. Morelos was contesting the header, but it was adjudged that James Penrice was pulling Morelos' shirt. Referee, after deliberating with VAR, pointed to the spot, and Tavernier made no mistake about it. He passed it beyond the goalkeeper, as he failed to do last weekend, of course, when he missed one at Ibrox against Partick Thistle. He got his second goal on at the 77th minute. It went from bad to worse from Livingston and extinguished any hope they had of getting an equaliser, because just before that, Stefan Omiyonga was shown a second yellow card and he was sent off. Kamar Roof, the substitute, skipped inside of Omiyonga, who was already on a booking. He tripped the Rangers striker, and then I'm not sure if he was actually booked for the challenge or for the abuse he was thrown at the referee thereafter, but nonetheless, Omiyonga was given his marching orders and he was sent off. James Tavernier stepped up to take the resulting free kick and put it right into the post. He stamped top corner, fantastic free kick. and then the third from Rangers came 6 minutes before the end. The substitute came Roof. Stramash in the box from a Barisic corner. Davis had a swing, Roof had a first swing, but on the second attempt he made no mistake and found the back of the net. First goal for him since that one he scored in the semi-final of the League Cup against Aberdeen in just a second of the season. So full time here at the Tony Mac. Just to recap, Livingston 0, Rangers 3.
Yeah, good win for Rangers, and of course Kemar Roof, if he could only stay fit on a regular basis, I think he would have been a bigger success for Rangers.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's just had a lot of injury problems. I think when he's fit, he looks a handy striker for Rangers to have. Listen, the goal he scored was against Dundee United in Europe. For the halfway line, showed he's got tons of ability. And Rangers will just be trying to keep him fit. That's the most important thing for him, is to keep him fit. Because if they do that, they've got a real potent striker in Roof, and they'll just be hoping that Roof stays on fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, for the benefit of anyone who went to the Savoy on a Thursday night, Tam used to dance to that song, "The Roof is on Fire." I know you did. The roof. Yes, it was. I don't think I'll be criticised by anyone by saying it was a Ned's classic, and that's why Tam loved it. Roof scoring the third, but James Tavernier getting the double. The story of the Scottish Premiership today. Give us your thoughts on it. Engage with us. Tell us what you think. We'll hear from managers if you want to. You can share the feed with your friends. Tell them about it and subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Let's get the thoughts of the Aberdeen boss, Barry Robson, on that 4-0 defeat today against Celtic.
Listen, I'm just frustrated because I want to come here and really play at times, and that takes a lot of time on the training pitch. It takes a lot of players that the style system that you really want to do with them, I'm just frustrated when you see when we lose a goal as quickly, and you can see that we were a bit fragile with that. But as I said, credit to them for coming back into the second half. But I want an Aberdeen team coming down here and really at it,
Yeah, I'm just waiting on Barry to just give us a few profanities there, but thankfully he avoided it. I can see where he's coming from though, because quite simply, a good Aberdeen side would be able to go to Celtic Park and have a go, but this is not a good Aberdeen side.
No, it's not. It's not a good side. There's a lot of average players in that team, and as Barry said there, it's going to take months and months of coaching on the field to be players and getting your right players in who can handle the ball and are brave enough to go and play at Celtic Park. Particularly, and Celtic are excellent at the minute as well. It's difficult when you lose that early goal. You're fearing the worst, and I think they're 2-0 down after 15 minutes. So, 4-0. I think they were quite relieved to get out with 4-0. It could have been any score. So, no, you can see the frustration for Barry there. Barry's obviously a winner. He wants to go down there and compete with Celtic, but with that team, you could have a mix of Pep Guardiola, Alex Ferguson, and Jock Stein. With that team, you wouldn't get a tune at them. So. He's just got to take his medicine and try and win the next game.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Tam, and I'm thinking as we look at these scorelines here, it's been a good day for you in the predictor, because you predicted Hibs to win 2-0. You get 5 points there. You predicted Celtic 3-0, and Leela Bada's absolutely done you in. You predicted Dundee United 1, St Johnstone 2, which is a belter for you. Livingston 1, Rangers 2. It was far more comfortable for Rangers than that prediction. You did predict that St Mirren would beat Ross County, so you've got points there as well, and you've obviously got Hearts to beat Motherwell tomorrow. It could be a humdinger of a week for you. I reckon at the end of it all, you must be in the mix at the top end of the table.
Yeah, must be. Rotten Ruffy picked up a few points during the week there, but I'll be back in the mix. But as I said, the most important thing for all of us is to pull further away from the Elgin.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can
no points, I know for a fact, in the Rangers game.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, I can tell you that Ruffy only gets 6 points, so he's had an absolute shocker. And as far as I'm concerned, I think I've managed to get 11, so that's not bad actually. I'm still there, and I think you will be neck and neck with us all in the predictor, so that's always good. Give us your thoughts on your team, the performance, if you're a United fan. how much more time does Liam Fox get to the end of the season and then chance to rebuild? Or are United's board going to come under increasing pressure? That's the big question. And we'll get more reaction from the managers, as you can tell, and as you can see, we're getting managers and players offering their reaction into the show before we go off air at 6 o'clock. And also we will give you a quick rundown of what's been happening elsewhere, especially in the English Premier League, because quite simply the big scorelines that happened today: Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 4, and Arsenal scored 2 goals in injury time there, and Nottingham Forest 1, Manchester City 1, which means that Arsenal have that 2-point gap at the top plus a game in hand, so it's not as bad as everybody was predicting. Arsenal's demise hasn't quite materialised.
No, I just don't think you can trust Man City at the minute to beat Nottingham Forest. They've already get beat off of Brentford. They've dropped points against teams like that this season, and I think they've got a great opportunity if you're Arsenal. Obviously Man City in the Champions League as well. I think their eyes are firmly on that to win that as well under Pep, and
yeah,
I don't think Arsenal will get a better opportunity than this season to win it.
Yeah, there's nothing worse for a manager who's been sacked in a job for his team to suddenly just bounce back and win. Stephen Hamill knows how that feels, and certainly Nathan Jones knows how it feels as a Southampton boss. He gets sacked, Southampton go to Stamford Bridge, defeat Graham Potter's Chelsea by 1-0. Is the Chelsea manager under pressure? Newcastle against Liverpool's 5:30. That's a game taking place this evening. We'll keep you up to date before we go off air on that one. But let's go to Tannadice, because we can hear from a very happy winning manager. That's Callum Davison, the St Johnstone boss.
Today I thought Dundee United actually started the game really well, and then once the game settled down we came back into it, and I thought both teams actually tried to go and win the game. Very fortunate that you've got a guy like Stevie May in your team who never gives up. He's never say die attitude. And he manages straight away. It was a real crucial time to score the second goal. And delighted, how we got it. And I thought it was just what we probably deserved, just on the whole.
Yes, you.
Yeah, Stevie May, double, and again. For Dundee United, big problems there, and I think you're looking for every possible bit of inspiration to try and galvanise the players, but it certainly didn't happen today. Even with the 1983 team walking out onto the park, the majority of them on there.
Playing them.
Well, listen, I mean, you're looking at it, you're saying to yourself, Liam Fox said it in midweek, they're way off what that 83 side was all about. Not one of the players in that current Dundee United side would even get on Jim McLean's bench.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, and it's just interesting to see how you react when you are an inexperienced manager. He's never been in this situation before as a manager. You're in a relegation battle at the bottom. As I said earlier, you've got Derek McInnes, Malky Mackay, even Kettlewell, has kept Ross County up, so I think if you're a Dundee United fan, you are feeling the worst when you see the league position that they're in.
Yeah, we'll bring you the league table and the overall standings, but the early indications, Dundee United at the bottom with 20 points, then Ross County with 21, then it's Kilmarnock and Motherwell on 23, and let's not forget that Motherwell are in action tomorrow against Hearts, and St Johnstone have that cushion now with that all-important win. We will hear from the Rangers manager Michael Beale, as well as David Martindale offering their recollection of the 90 minutes that unfolded at the Tony Macaroni Arena. It was a good day for Rangers, double from Tavernier, one from Kemar Roof, youngster getting on that Tam knows well, but more importantly for both halves of the Old Firm ahead of the Viaplay League Cup final, it is quite simply no major injuries at this moment that we are aware of, so both squads can now just totally focused. The managers will be speaking this week, Tam, then a couple of players will be put up, and then it's all about just looking towards what's on offer ahead of the cup final. What team are they going to pick? The style of play, all of that will come into play.
Yeah, as I think that supporters will have the idea of what team they want to see, what tactics they want to see. I think that I don't think you'll see Michael Beale taking a back step. We know how Ange Postecoglou is going to play. It's going to be front foot, all attack, and I think that the Rangers will match fire with fire and try and match them. I think the important thing, as you said, is don't pick up any major injuries this week in training. You know, you get a full squad to pick from. But I think, you know, you look at the teams today. I don't think they'll deviate too much. Will Kyogo come back in for Celtic? You know, I'm not sure. I don't know if did they get on today, Kyogo? I'm not sure. You know, I think he's back in the mix to come into the team. But I think that Celtic will be along the same lines. Rangers, you know, obviously Malik Tillman will come back in if he's fit, and then it'll be the similar team. You know, so you know, I don't think they'll deviate away too much.
Yeah, just about 20 minutes he got.
Yeah, I thought he would do that. I thought he would want to know he was fit, want to see him getting a run out and testing his shoulder and a few tackles or whatever. So yeah, I think he'll come back in for O, and then I think that'll be the Celtic team next week. But I'm really looking forward to the game. I think that it's two teams in terrific form at the minute.
Yeah, it's going to be an absolute belter of a cup final. Who's going to win it? Give us your thoughts. Who do you think is well placed to pick up the first piece of silverware of the season? And what's the tactic for Michael Beale's Rangers side? Should they have a go, try and match them, high press, go all guns blazing? Have they got enough talent, not only in the starting 11 but on the bench, to get that first trophy for Michael Beale as Rangers manager? Or will Ange Postecoglou's side triumph once again? We will find out next Sunday. It's an absolute cracker to look forward to. But also today we're asking questions at the other end of the table. We will hear from, hopefully, Liam Fox. Sometimes managers, when they do feel the pressure of defeat after defeat and obviously the reality of being bottom of the Scottish Premiership, some managers just decide they're not going to speak and the axe falls, and that was what happened to Stephen Hamill.
Yeah, that's what happened last week. Obviously Stephen lost his job. I don't think Dundee United at that point at the minute, but I think he'll certainly have his players in the dressing room after the game and be having stern words with them. You know, I think he'll lock them in there for 15-20 minutes and tell them in no uncertain terms that the club's in a major issue at the minute in the relegation battle, and they've got to get their fingers out and start battling and start picking up points. Because, you know, as I said, the results went for them today. The other teams round about them get beat, but that's not going to happen every week. They need to look after their own job and try and pick up points. But, you know, I would never have imagined or envisioned Dundee United being in this position after them beating the AS Alkmaar.
Yeah, neither would I.
You know, that brilliant performance live on the TV under Jack Ross, and you thought, I think I might be tipped them to finish third or something.
Yeah.
And they might get relegated. So it's been an incredible, you know, fall from grace from that early European tie. Yep,
the criticism that's been directed towards the board has been evident over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's intensified, and now they've got a lot of explaining to do. So we'll hopefully hear from Liam Fox. Just before that, let's not forget that tomorrow it's Motherwell against Hearts. There's a caretaker manager in place at the moment at Motherwell, Stuart Kettlewell. He was in the dugout in midweek for their win, and this is what he had to say about obviously being back in that management chair at the moment, albeit for a short term, possibly long term.
When you finish playing, you talk about the adrenaline of winning trophies. We've been fortunate enough to do that, and that feeling. When you get into coaching management, it's the same feeling, but sometimes it even just centres around just winning a 3 points. So that aspect was great on Wednesday. But again, I also feel that I'm very level-headed, and we tried to get that from the players as well, that it's 190 minutes, it's one game of football. That feeling was great. Can we go and get it again as quick as we possibly can? And we're fortunate that we've got another game sort of 3-4 days later, and I think that's brilliant. I think it's great. We don't want to wait another week till we go and get a game.
Yeah, especially if you get that win, which they managed to do over St Mirren. I couldn't see it coming in midweek, but suddenly everybody, suddenly decides to give their all for the caretaker boss when they couldn't do it for the permanent boss.
Yeah, I think that Stephen Hamill and Brian Kerr would have been sitting, scratching their heads at why they never put that performance in for them. I think it was their first home victory since October. So that's football. It's happened to me with managers as well. You get in and sometimes you just get a lift for a different voice, Peter, and maybe a different training, different voice, different tactics, and you go and pick up a win. But was that a flash in the pan, or can they back it up against Hearts tomorrow? Yeah, Robbie Neilson certainly has been looking at that performance from Motherwell in midweek. Is he ready for any great surprise?
Yeah, well, it's obviously when a manager leaves and someone comes in interim, it's going to be different. There's going to be different ideas coming in. I watched him on Wednesday against St Mirren, yeah. And obviously changed their shape. They went 3-5-2, a bit more direct in their play, more aggressive, and they got the result. So I would expect them to stick with that. that's dependent on if someone comes in before it. So, you know, when you play against teams that are in that kind of interim basis, you never really know what you're going to get.
Yeah, and if Motherwell are looking for some kind of confidence boost, the last team you want to face is a Hearts side rippling with confidence, but also they've got that quality on the bench that can come on and change as well.
Yeah, they've got a strong squad, Hearts. I think that when you look at out with Celtic and Rangers, I think quality-wise, depth-wise, they are the third force at the minute, and that's why they're sitting in third place. But I think on any given day, Motherwell can put it up to them, but they've got to get out and play well. They've got to get, you know, not just 11 but maybe 13, 14 big performances for the guys coming off the bench, because you know that Hearts, if they're struggling, you can shuffle the pack and bring players on that are good quality. So, you know, Hearts are favourites going into the game, but listen, if Motherwell can get any sort of point, you know, a point or 3 points, then, you know, Kettlewell really puts himself, you know, front and centre to get that job on a full-time basis.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to hear from some of the players, especially players that have played down south and are now up here playing in the Scottish Premiership. James Hill is one such player on loan from Bournemouth now in the Hearts lineup and performing really well. What does he see as the main differences from what he was doing down south to coming up to the Scottish Premiership?
I think the quality of players, and obviously how fast of tempo the game is. I think it's quite fast, like the way the transition between attack and defence. I think it happens really quick, and I think it's 100 miles an hour sometimes, like all the time. So you've got to really switch on. You can't ever switch off in here because it can be one ball over the top and they're in. So, and I think the quality of players as well. So when that ball goes over the top, you've got players now that will stick it in the back of the net if you're not switched on. So I think that's really important to me to stay, as a young lad, to stay focused all the time.
He's getting a huge learning curve up here and he's performed well.
Yep, that's another one for the recruitment team at Hearts. You know, I think Bournemouth signed him for $1 million and a half from Bournemouth. You know, when you get him up on loan, you know, and he's done really well. He's quick, he's athletic, you know, he's done well at Hearts. You know, that's all about contacts and recruitment, and that's why Hearts are where they are. You know, they've got people out at games and watching quality players like that, and they're able to get them up on loan. So, no, I think he's been a great addition for Hearts, and it just, you know, improves their strength and depth.
Just shows you when they've got a good side there, Tam. There's 3,500 people on the waiting list for season tickets there. 15,500 season tickets at Hearts. The Jambos are getting right behind this team. They're winning games. They want to be part of it.
Yeah, they do, and obviously the foundation of Hearts, you know, they own the club, you know, they put their money where their mouth is, you know, they back the club, they put so much money in every month, and that, I think that brings them together, and brings them closer to the club and decisions. So, yeah, you're right, I think that the Hearts, you know, they're on the crest of wave at the minute. They are the third force in Scottish football, and it's up to your Aberdeens and your Hibs, you know, to go and close that gap. The European money come in this year is going to come in handy, and if Hearts get into European group stages next year, you know, and they get another £3, £4, £5 million, that gap's just going to start to, you know, get bigger between them and the rest.
Yeah, and talking of gaps, you only have to look at the money that was coming in to Celtic's coffers from their midweek financial results to see that they have a huge amount of money in the bank from their group stage Champions League involvement, 50 million, and that's not including some of the transfers that happened in the £11 million from the sale of Juranovic and Giacomakis. And now, after today's results, they have a 9-point advantage still over Rangers. They had a 4-0 win over Aberdeen, and Ange Postecoglou was asked after today's game whether that 9-point advantage in the league will give them that confidence going into the Viaplay League Cup final against Rangers next weekend.
No, I mean, you know, I think cup football is cup football. You know, it's especially, you know, in any round, you know that you're going into it with the possibility of, irrespective of form, that, you know, any team can win it, and same, even more so in the final. I mean, we played Hibs last year, and you know, it was a pretty tight game. So, you know, from our perspective, we're not going into it thinking that anything other than we've got to be the best we can be to get the job done, which is what we do every week.
I think the mindset from Ange Postecoglou week in, week out, and he's been consistent since he arrived on these shores, is quite simply just keep doing what you're doing and in this bubble of what Celtic are doing, and then let everybody else worry about it. He's not interested in jumping on any kind of confidence boost from an advantage or confidence boost from a previous win. He just won't entertain it.
Yeah, I think once Celtic win a game, that's it, done and dusted. You know, it's gone, and you focus on the next game. I think that Celtic will need to go out and play well. I think that against other teams, Celtic can go out and maybe play, at 50-60% capacity and still win. Just because they're so much better. But against Rangers, they're going to have to play well. Rangers know they're going to have to play well as well. So, listen, it all sets up for a great game. It's a cup competition. It's a cup final. Anything can happen in a cup final. If Rangers score first, how do Celtic react? And vice versa. I think Celtic are favourites. I think they are the better team at the minute. But Rangers showed, as we said earlier, at Ibrox early in the season, that on any given day they can match them. So, listen, it sets up for a cracking game. And as I said, you just hope that it's a great spectacle and there's no nonsense off the part, and there's no nonsense on the part with refereeing decisions and VAR, and the best team on the day wins.
Yeah, if there's a refereeing decision, Tam, that decides that cup final, we'll be talking about that cup final 3 weeks on Tuesday.
Yeah, that is, and I hope we aren't. There's nothing worse than for us to be talking about referees. We want to talk about games and football and great goals and great performances, and we don't want to be talking about a handball that wasn't given or an offside or something like that. So, as I said, I hope on the day, and I hope for the referees' sake as well, because they're under severe pressure. I hope they got all the big decisions right, and we're talking about the football after it.
Yeah, that's the other key element of this one. And again, when we were talking about, you said that everything's up for grabs because it's a cup final. Rangers can't really lay a glove on Celtic in the league, and the reason for that is because they're hoping for someone else to do them a turn, and that's not materialised. And the only team that you reckon could potentially derail them at any given time would have to be a Hearts side playing at the top of their game at Tynecastle. I mean, Rangers will want to win 2 cups that are up for grabs, realising that, as Michael Beale said, they reckon the league's just beyond them. So for that to happen, it might take another final appearance against Celtic, or it might take this draw in the quarter-finals where Hearts produce something special against Celtic in the quarter-final.
Yeah, I think they'll be looking at that. I think they obviously get an easier tie with Wraith Rovers at home, no disrespect to them. Celtic go to Hearts away from home, but again, you never know on any given day at Tynecastle. Refereeing decision, whatever Hearts play really well and Celtic are off it, then you maybe get a result. But I just think it's going to be about the two of them again. As long as they don't draw each other in that Scottish Cup, I think you'll see another Old Firm final. And as I said, Michael Beale, I think the Rangers fans are happy with him at the minute. They're happy with the results and performances. But if Celtic win that cup final, he's under pressure immediately. It's as simple as that. That's the way it works at Celtic and Rangers. And I think that Michael's got to win something this season. I think if Celtic win the treble, he goes into next season under pressure.
Yeah, I'm just looking there, and Paul Brady says, Tam, if Rangers score first, Celtic won't change their philosophy.
No, I don't think they will, but it's a cup final, and I think the first goal in any game is crucial, but in a cup final it's even bigger. You rarely see teams that score first in a cup final getting beat, so no, I don't think they will deviate away from the way they play, but I think in terms of the confidence that we give Rangers to score first, I think that would be massive. I think if Celtic score first again, they would have the confidence to go and win the game. So in any game, the stats will back this up, particularly Old Firm games, the team that scores first very rarely gets beat.
Yeah, okay. Well, are you going to contest what Tam's just said? Do you buy into it? Or do you think this one could go one way, swing the other way? Of course, because the element of this that we all are aware of is the fact that in the game you can suddenly have a period where, let's just say, Celtic come out of the traps flying, and then suddenly Rangers get a grip on the game. That's what happens in these matches with the quality. Are you worried about the fact, Tam, that we don't at this moment have any reaction from Liam Fox? Do you think he's in there tearing strips off the players?
I think they've been there. I think they've been there slaughtering them after that. Well, weren't at the game, but in terms of the result, it's a really, really poor result. It's back-to-back defeats at home to Kilmarnock and St Johnstone. So he's not going to be happy. I would think he would be in that dressing room and turn strips off them, and I think you maybe need to wait a little bit longer for him to come out and speak to the media.
Yeah, absolutely. With a little bit of luck, we might get something from him before the end of the programme. But and of course, Claire is up there at Tannadice, so whether she's able to have a quick chat with us and explain the situation from the Dundee United manager, we'll do our absolute best. Elsewhere, we'll get reaction hopefully before 6 o'clock from Michael Beale on that win today, and it's a good win for Rangers against Livingston, because Livingston is tricky to say at the very least. They always make it difficult for teams, but Rangers just too strong today. A penalty for Tavernier, a free kick from Tavernier, and a goal from Roof.
Yep, great result for Rangers. For Livingston, back-to-back 3-0 defeats after so much praise for Livingston and the manager. So they're hit a bit of a dip. But for Rangers, James Tavernier, we speak about him all the time. His goal scoring record for a fullback. Listen, I know a lot of them are penalty kicks, but free kicks, open play, his record's incredible. Scoring goals. So he's been a great asset. I think he's obviously, we all know he's better going forward than he is defensively. But that is the modern game now. You want your fullbacks to bomb on and create and score goals, and there's no better. Probably in Scottish football than James Tavernier doing that. Yeah, I'm just looking here, Tam, and it looks as if Darwin Núñez has scored after 10 minutes against Newcastle. Just a big build-up before they absolutely hammer Real Madrid on Tuesday night, Tam. That's all I'm telling you. I'm really looking forward to it. I wish I was taking you with me. Are you in hospitality or just going down to see the game? No, I'm just going to. I'm going down to see the game. It was one of those. It's one of those matches. Is it work or pleasure? It's work. Oh, is it? There's no fun. There's no fun. There's no red wine. There's no red wine like you. That's a Stonewall certainty. It's what. You can go out at night. I mean, you come straight back up the road after the game. Straight back up. Yeah, I've got to come straight back up, Tam. Got to be professional about it. You're not allowed to stay down there. No, that's because up the road. I'm not in power in this one, but nevertheless, it's going to be a cracker. Adam Binney will be hosting the show on Tuesday. Hopefully, you can join us. I wonder if Claire at Tannadice can hear us in that cauldron of. I think there's a feeling that we might be able to go to Claire. Yeah, let's try and get Claire live. That's the type of show this is. Claire Kinnaird is at Tannadice. Claire, we were waiting on the thoughts of the manager, Liam Fox. Is he still in there talking to the players? Has he come out? Has he said anything to you?
He said that he's not initially worried about his job as such, despite the poor run.
We cut it. I think so. We can't hear her. I don't know. She's standing there as well. I know. I just cannot. It's one of those ones. It's a shame. She's doing so well, but unfortunately, her microphone doesn't look as if it's giving us what we're looking for. Tam, it's so close to her, but I think she's going to say basically that Tam Fox is. Not Tam Fox, Liam Fox. Tam Courts I was thinking of because he was looking at that Brøndby job. Liam Fox is a man who's obviously been tearing strips of them. You don't think it's breaking point? I don't think so at the minute, but the pressure's building. They're bought the foot of the table. They're lucky. I think that the other teams round about them never picked up anything. So I don't know their next run of games who they've got coming up, but they've got to start picking up points, because I think you can get away with it a little bit away from home, but if you're at home, back-to-back defeats, then the fans are certainly going to let you know that they're not happy. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, elsewhere, Michael Beale will undoubtedly be happy with his performance. Ange Postecoglou, as you have heard on the show, is absolutely delighted with his team's win. They got a 4-0 win over Aberdeen. Barry Robson, I think, would love to have an Aberdeen side capable of having a go, but it just didn't materialise, because after 2 minutes, Callum McGregor had Celtic on the front foot and ahead with a beautiful left foot strike into the back of the net. Yeah, he doesn't score many, but they're usually crackers when he does score, Callum McGregor. We all know how good a player he is. He's a fantastic footballer, fantastic leader at Celtic. And he obviously scored a quality goal today. For me, he's still the main man at Celtic. I think you cannot afford to lose him out of that team. He's a beating heart and the soul of that team in the middle of the pitch. He's obviously took over the captain from a legend in Celtic, Scott Brown. They're totally different characters. I know both of them, and they're different characters. Callum leads more by example in his performances, and Brownie would get in amongst players and liven them up. So, no, I think that it's all building up, for a great game next week. But Celtic need to have their full team out, as do Rangers, and no injuries picked up this week in training. Cotton wool. No young v old games in training where you can kick living daylights at each other. I'm sure they'll just be trying to get through this week and get to next Sunday with a full squad. I'm just looking at the starting lineup for Rangers with McGregor in goal, Tavernier, Goldson, Davis, Borna Barisic in there, and then of course Raskin, Kamara, Sakala, Cantwell, Kent and Morelos. It was a good strong starting 11. do you stick with that? Do you look at Roof scoring and say, okay, he's got his chance, he's got to get in, or is that the starting line? Maybe a tweak with Tillman.
I think Tillman will come in. I think that Tillman will come in. I think
at the expense of Kamara.
Kamara or Raskin. I think what I like about that Rangers team is they've got serious pace in the wings, and that's not always been the case with Rangers this season. And I think on a big Hampden pitch, as we all know, I think Sakala and Kent on the wide areas with Celtic's fullbacks pushing forward, that'll be a key area for me where Rangers can really get at Celtic in the wide areas with that pace. They've obviously got Morelos up front, but I definitely think that Tillman will come back in for maybe Raskin or Kamara. Raskin's obviously never played in an Old Firm game, but a big one to throw him in this early in his Rangers career. So I think you would maybe see him dropping out and Tillman coming in.
What about the Celtic lineup there, Tam? Hart, Johnstone, Carter Vickers, Starfelt, Greg Taylor, then you've got Mara Riley, Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate, and then that front three, Jota, all started today with Maeda. Kyogo get 20 minutes. There's a big call for him.
Yeah, I think all come out and Kyogo will come in. I think that Kyogo is the number one striker at Celtic. You know, his goals this season, he's scored so many goals. He's scored a big goal at Ibrox to get a point early in the season. So I think he'll come back in. I think that'll be the two wingers as well.
Yeah,
Jota and Maeda. And there's so much attacking talent in both teams. It's mouth-watering, you know, to think about, you know, how open that game is going to be, because I don't think that, I know for a fact that Postecoglou's not going to sit back, and I don't think Bale will either. And they'll be the best team win.
Yeah, a lot of people, including yourself, talking about people getting sacked. You're having a go at me. You were calling, you know, for serious looks at Jurgen Klopp. Newcastle United 0, Liverpool 2. Gakpo scoring the goal.
Yeah, it's about time they picked up a result, to be honest with you. That's day of execution for Klopp.
Yeah.
Newcastle, they've had a real opportunity to not only finish in the top four, but have a real say in the title race, and they have fell off a cliff in recent weeks. They just keep drawing games, and it doesn't look as if they're going to get into this game either. So, you know, the top three is going to be the top three, but, you know, Newcastle, Tottenham, you know, Brighton lost today at home to Fulham, so their top four aspirations are hit as well. So, you know, you never know with Liverpool making a late run into that, you know, top 4 or 5. That's a big result for them to beat Newcastle. Yeah,
I'll tell you another thing, Tam. We always look at stats. One stat that's just been forwarded to me that I think is very interesting from today's Celtic Aberdeen game, and this is where you really realise the enormity of the gap that's opening up now. Celtic had 19 shots, 9 of them on target, 78% possession. They had 827 passes, 89% pass accuracy and 16 tackles. This Aberdeen side had 5 shots, none of them on target, 22% possession, 230 passes, 66% pass accuracy, 15 tackles and 7 saves. That is spectacular for Celtic, but an indication of where we are in Scottish football.
The gap's massive, Peter. It's never been bigger for me between, you know, Celtic, Rangers, and then Hearts and the rest. You know, Aberdeen, you know, going down there, and that's just you know, you expect that from a real lower league team. You know, go down there and not have a shot on target, have nothing in the final third at all. The gap is enormous. You know, you've got to give credit to Celtic. You know, they're a very, very slick outfit at the minute, and if you've got 7-8% possession, you know, you are not going to lose many games. The other team are going to be knackered doing all the chasing, and you're going to pick them off like Celtic done today later on with a couple of goals. Yeah, we'll try and give you the full-time assessment of Michael Beale before we go off air, and also we will just give you a quick rundown of the scores in the Scottish Premiership as well. A couple of things I want to talk about before I give you the last chance to win the competition. Nice to see Lyndon Dykes back in training with QPR after that bout of pneumonia, no less. You know, we always love, you know, Lyndon Dykes involved in the Scotland setup. Yeah, obviously big ties coming up next month, I think it is in March, and you want him back fit. You know, obviously a scary one for him and his family, and for QPR who are struggling at the minute as well. So no, he's back fit. Hopefully he's back up to full fitness, and you can see him in a Scotland jersey next month.
Yeah, absolutely. One little sad note that I thought this morning, I think the whole of the football world absolutely devastated to hear the news that Christian Atsu was found dead. Of course, the Ghana international had a spell at Newcastle. He's only 31 years of age. There was a real feeling, that he would be found after the Turkish earthquakes. He's playing for Turkish side Hatayspor, and I think there was earlier reports that he was okay, but sadly 2 weeks after the earthquakes have happened, his body was found, and the whole of the footballing world is, I think, their thoughts and prayers and condolences towards the family. 65 caps for Ghana, and a really talented boy, and that's just devastating news, Tam.
Yeah, listen, it's horrible to see the pictures over in Turkey at the minute, and the lucky ones are getting pulled out from the rubble. A couple of weeks later, unfortunately for Christian Atsu, he's not been as lucky as some of the others, and he's lost his life at a relatively young man. So our thoughts are with him. I think he's got a wife and kids. So it's a real tragedy, as it has been for all the people in Turkey that have lost their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Here on that one, Tam. Okay, just one little talking about a race for people looking for investors. You've been mentioning the fact that some Scottish clubs would be looking for a huge millionaire, a Qatari millionaire. There's a race going on for Manchester United. Jim Radcliffe's petrochemical firm Ineos, they are looking to win the bid for Man United off the Glazers. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani, it's a mouthful, but he's the chairman of Qatar's biggest bank. They want Manchester United. I think if anything, I think United fans are looking at it, and some have raised concerns about the Qatari bid because, once again, of those human rights issues. But whoever comes in, if it's one of those two, they've got billions of pounds, and United could be in for a lucrative period again, getting back to the force they once were.
Yeah, I think to compete now, you've got to have deep pockets in the English Premier League. You look, Liverpool have fell off the pace. They're looking for new owners. Man City have had heavy investment. Newcastle now heavy investment. So you've got to keep up with the Joneses, and that means you've got to pay the money. So for Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, no doubt about that. They're an attractive proposition for a lot of owners. A lot of people would love to have Man United in their portfolio of clubs. So I think that somebody will buy them. I think the Glazers are looking to sell up into Peter. They've obviously been sickened by the abuse they've been getting, and I think that somebody will buy Man United shortly.
Yeah, just before we go, as ever, we try and get as many of the managers in as possible. Here's Liam Fox, the Dundee United boss, after that loss today to St Johnstone.
Yeah, really, really difficult to take. The amount that the players put into the game as well. But it's football, it's just where we're at the moment. Off the back of losing the goal, real issue we better get it longer term as well with an injury, so it's a double whammy. But listen, we can sit here and feel sorry for ourselves. We can roll our sleeves up, we can accept it. Just because we're in a difficult run of fixtures at the moment, difficult run of games, difficult run of results. There's no getting away for that, there's no hiding for that.
Yeah, you can see the pressures building on him.
Yeah, listen, he's a young manager and he's never been in this situation before. And that's why if you're a Dundee United supporter, you'd be fearing the worst, because you've got other experienced managers down there in the mix who've been in that before, know how to handle it, know how to speak to the players, know how to get out of that situation. And for Liam Fox, it's a big test of his managerial capabilities. I don't see Dundee United changing another manager this season. I think he'll be able to see the season out, but he's got to start picking up results.
Thanks to so many of you who've said some very kind words, not only about Christian Atsu, but of course for your support for the show. Thanks to Duppy, who says, great show today, cheers PLZ. Thank you also to a number of people who've passed a comment on the show and enjoying it as we bring it to you. Paul Brady says, great show, Tam, have a good night, and we'll enjoy the remainder of the Liverpool game. I will enjoy the remainder of the Liverpool game, and certainly going to enjoy driving down to Liverpool to see Liverpool Real Madrid. Doesn't get any better than that, Tam McManus.
Yep, I thought you'd get a ticket for your sidekick, but obviously you've patched me this time. So no, I'll just need to watch it on the telly. But listen, two massive clubs going head to head. And that could be a big confidence booster for Liverpool, that result today.
Yeah, we will look at all the Champions League in midweek. Adam Binney will be on the show on Tuesday. I'll be back with Tam and Ruffy tomorrow with Alison McConnell, looking back over these weekend fixtures. As far as the competition and quiz, just before we go, it's your last chance to get in there and win this Ajax top.
Another fantastic competition from PLZ Soccer. You can win this iconic replica Ajax shirt by answering this simple question. How many times have Ajax won the European Cup? Post your answers in the comment section below. If you want to double your chances of winning, don't forget to hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck with that. We did pose a question, Tam, that I thought was well worthy of your consideration. How many clubs has Ian Holloway managed? He's obviously been linked with the Motherwell job. What did you say?
I said 9.
Yeah, it is 9.
Is it?
Yes. No, you didn't see the answer. I've got to say to you didn't see that. Well done with that one. Okay, we'll give you the winner of the competition on Monday's programme. Good luck with that. And that is Rangers book, Celtic book from the history of the shirts. Ajax top. On Monday, we are going to give away Argentina World Cup winning 3-star Messi shirt. Does it get any better, I have to ask you, than that? It's going to be a belter, isn't it?
Oh, it's a great competition prize.
Yeah.
It's the most sought after strip, I think, in the world at the minute, a Messi World Cup strip.
Absolutely, it's got the 3 stars on it as well, Tam. And I can tell you, just before we go, here's the Rangers manager after that win today against Livingston, Michael Beale.
Yeah, because it's a difficult place to come to, and I think when you come here, you know what you're going to get. You know, Davey has his team fired up, lots of legs, lots of energy. They make it around the boxes, so it's a game that obviously forces your attention. We came here with a bit of a patched up team in some ways, although the starting 11 was very good. You can see that we got a number of players missing. So I'm delighted to get out of here with the result, and obviously 3-0 was quite emphatic in the end, which I've been here a lot, and there's not too many days I've come away so happy as I am today.
Well, we got him in, I'm absolutely delighted. We got the Rangers manager in before we go off, and he's a happy man. He had a strong starting 11, which he said he wasn't going to change.
Yep, a good starting 11, but he had a couple of younger kids on the bench, and a couple of them I think made their debut, so all in all a really positive day for Rangers, and look ahead to the final next week with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, and on PLZ Soccer, thank you to Billy King. He says it's like sitting in a pub with your pals. It's the best compliment you could possibly have. Thanks for that, Billy. The story of the afternoon in the Scottish Premiership is this: Celtic and Rangers both with comfortable wins. Celtic 4-0 over Aberdeen, Rangers 3-0 at Livingston. The big story is Liam Fox under real pressure at Dundee United. They're rooted at the bottom of the table after that 2-1 loss to Dundee United at Tannadice, celebrating the spirit of the 83 side, and this Dundee United outfit are a long way from that. It was a good win for Hibs today over Kilmarnock, who are also in the mire at the bottom, and elsewhere St Mirren with a narrow win over Ross County. Malky Mackay's side not out of it yet. Tomorrow it's Motherwell against Hearts. We will have all the preview, update, half-time, full-time from Fir Park from Motherwell Hearts on our social media channels, and then we're back on Monday. Alison McConnell, Tam McManus, Alan Ruff and myself. Hit the subscribe button. Thanks to Blair and Sean, our producers today. Hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. All the content you can. If you download the app, you get all the breaking news all the way through the week as well. Thank you for watching today.
Thanks, Savoy. Let's go.
Let's go.